Incoming transmission.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome back to the second week here of Season 2 of the GSL 2026. And what a special day of games we have for you guys today.
Oh, this is going to be a spectacular day at the GSL, Tasteless. It is one of the most stacked lineups we've ever had in the line of 8. We're going to be round of 8. We're going to be going into that in just a minute, but oh my goodness. I mean, the round of 8 of the GSL this year, both in Season 1 and CS2, it feels so stacked. Even compared to previous years, it is kind of crazy.
It is. It's been an exciting time for StarCraft 2 in general. We've got a lot of different events going on right now. And I think, the most exciting thing about today is that we've got Clem playing, which is very cool.
Some foreign representation here at the GSL as we take a look at the schedule. Of course, today and tomorrow going to be the round of 8, Group A and Group B. And then moving forward, the offline finals. If you want to show up and watch live, all the information to pick up the tickets is on your screen right there. That's going to be happening on the 7th of June. And make sure when those tickets go on sale, if you want to pick them up, you grab them immediately.
Yes.
It looks like that's going to be on June 1st at 5 p.m. KST.
6-7, guys.
I'm not joking when I say these tickets, they often sell out within just 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you're in Korea, if you're on vacation, if you want to go to the finals, make sure that you are locked in trying to get those tickets because it will be a bummer if you don't make it.
It's 15,001. That's about $10 US. And, we were so excited to see you guys down there. It was really nice to cast the offline finals just a little bit over, 10 days ago and see a lot of you guys down there. But as State said, that does fill up. You do want to get your ticket early. We do have people every time that come out here and can't quite get in. By the way, guys, we need your support. We have many different ways you can support the GSL. You can get a Code A Basic or a Code S Plus. That's on the SOOP website and or app. Also, if you're watching the English broadcast right now, you're probably very familiar with Patreon. That's popular with a lot of English speakers. There's also patreon.com/GSL. And if we are able to continue to fundraise, we have different goals we are trying to hit. You also get different perks, by the way, as you can see here on screen, depending on what philanthropy you're willing to give. If we do get past $10,000, there will be a Season 3 kickoff. $15K a month here will get us an extended GSL here, prize pool increase and everything else like that. And I know we've made some progress here, especially since we started or finished Season 1 and are now in Season 2 here. So we'll see if we get to that $10,000 number.
Yeah, I wonder where we're at exactly. I know that we're getting closer and closer every day as the broadcast went on, Season 1 through Season 2, but it would be awesome to come back for a GSL Season 3 this year.
Yeah, that would be cool. We'll see if we get there. So right now we're at $7,783. So we're like a little bit.
It's pretty close.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just a little bit more than $2,000 away from that Season 3. We already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares filled up in the bar.
I guess
we're almost to 8 squares, guys.
There's only 3 squares left, right?
Only 3 squares left to fill. So we'll see if we get there, guys. Consider signing up if you haven't already. I don't know. It's good to be back. It's weird already having Season 2 right after Season 1. Normally we have a little bit of downtime, but
yeah, it's been a crazy month and a half of StarCraft. Even if you watch ASL, I mean, you pack that in there. I mean,
yeah,
for you, it's been absolutely insane with the GSL Season 1 and Season 2, with RSL going on, with the ASL going on. There is so much action if you are a StarCraft fan. As we take a look at the matchups today and tomorrow, today is going to be spectacular. We have Hero, Classic, Cure, and Clem. And Clem, I'm certain, will be playing Protoss versus Cure. So it's going to be a real deep dive into the PvT matchup.
Right.
It's likely we're only going to see PvT and PvP today. I think that Clem is still probably going to be playing Terran versus Protoss, so we'll get him versus Hero and versus Classic with his main race. But, oh my goodness, what a day of GSL this is going to be.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. We do allow for race switching. This was not always the case in GSL. They changed this, I want to say, like 7 or 8 years ago.
I believe it was originally for Raynor, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was for Raynor, and then Maru did some race changing.
Yeah.
And then, Clem, he's been doing a race changing a lot actually in RSL. But, yeah, I mean, we'll probably see a lot of PVTs here today. And a lot of PvPs, of course. Probably no TVTs if Clem does go with the race switch. And
yeah, he will. I mean,
yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've seen Clem play a TVT willingly in a tournament. I mean, it's been years. It's just you got to think of him as a PVT player and a TVP and a TVZ player. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he goes with the matchup that makes sense to him. You got to think this guy probably knows the TVP matchup on both ends better than maybe anybody in the whole world. But first, we're going to start this off with a PvP here with Hero versus Classic.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun one. Hero, the reigning GSL champion, coming back in the round of 8 and looking so good on his way here. Just an outstanding performance for him, and the qualifiers directly seeded him into the round of 8. That's why we didn't get any shots of Hero in the round of 12. But this guy has just been absolutely killing in every tournament that he's played in recently. I'm excited for this PvP between these two.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I might give Hero the slight edge, but I don't know. Maybe that's just, the games I cast with him. I've always been super impressed by his PvP. Classic's very good, though. He's a very formidable opponent. This should be maybe one of our closest round of 8 matches that we have.
I'm expecting basically all the matches that we have today to be pretty close, honestly. The thing is, I'm not sure today is going to be an especially long day because PvP by its very nature is just one of the shortest matchups we've had in StarCraft 2. It's always been that way. But also TVP, it seems like it's quite explosive. The only way I could see TVP really dragging out is if Kure decides he wants to play for that more exhaust-based style.
Right.
Which we have seen him capable of doing. But it feels like today is going to be just a flash in the pan, but a brilliant flash with the players that we've got already.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one here. Classic, by the way, having a pretty incredible run last year. We are in, I think we've actually had 2 patches since he was basically unstoppable. But, there's always the issue of the
All right, map number 1 has loaded in for the first match of the round of 8 in GSL Season 2. It's going to be Hero spawning in the top right as the blue Protoss Classic, the red Protoss down in the bottom left.
Okay, so, PvP is a matchup. There's so many different ways to approach it. I've been saying this a lot lately, but it's just so true, right? There's so many different types of interactions you can have. To boil it down to the simplest way, it's going to be, are they both going to expand? Is one going to expand, or are they both one basing? Those are basically the 3 types of games you can have. And, you can get games where you're both going to get bases up and it's going to go forward, but a lot of times it comes down to one player expanding and the other player either killing them or failing to kill them.
Right, and I'm not sure exactly how the games are going to be going between these two. It feels like Hero and Classic, generally speaking, like to play more of the one-base style, but you never really know what's going on behind the scenes, whether these players are going up against each other on the ladder or in practice matches recently, whether they've played in other online terms recently. There's so much meta behind every individual match, especially here in PvP with such a sharp break between the different build orders. And one thing that we've already seen, which is pretty interesting here, is that Classic did not opt to go for an early wall off in the main base. Instead, he's walling in almost like you would for a Reaper.
Yeah, that base placement is quite unusual here.
It looks like an early legacy of the Void game before people really figured out the Adept and what it was capable of doing.
Yeah, I'm wondering why he went for that. By the way, Hero has already made a pylon here on the low ground that does telegraph intentions to expand here. Now, you don't have to do it, but then you do have a pylon on the low ground, which could be a target to attack.
Yeah, I think it will certainly be an expand here for Hero. He already has only 1 gateway done. There's no more in production. And with a Zealot, especially to prevent Classic from throwing down, say, a pylon and a Cybernetics core, this is Hero trying to gear up for an expansion. And Classic, he might be going for some sort of timing attack with this 2-gate build. Sometimes when you want to play a very aggressive game with PvP, you don't even bother going for the wall in at your natural with the first 2 gateways because you're kind of expecting to have a presence on the map, whether it be with the Adepts or whether it be with Stalkers.
Okay, 2 Adepts coming out here. We're having the Stargate start. About halfway done, excuse me, here for Hero. It has been scouted. And Stargate expand. Meanwhile, double Adept still coming here for Classic. Classic is getting more and more minerals here, so this is probably also going to be an expansion from him in just a little bit when he gets to 400 minerals.
It is looking that way. Classic also, I like the way that he followed up with the build. You know, he went for the 2 gateways there in the main base and the Cybernetics core, not at the ramp, and then he built the next 2 pylons right on top of the ramp, almost like you would be building a wall in with supply depots. And I suppose he can throw down a shield battery or a pylon anytime he wants to actually close up that gap. It's kind of a cute little way of approaching the game. I wonder if he will have a probe in position to actually stop this Adept from getting into his main base, though. Hero cancels the shade.
Yeah, I don't know that this Adept is going to be able to get away. It gets shot down. And this is going to be a much slower PvP. The Oracle's going to come across the map. He's going to get a Void Ray behind that. That's kind of cool. Did he actually confirm that Classic was expanding too?
I'm not sure if he saw it with the Adept shade earlier. The shade had very small vision, and it seemed like Hero was sending that towards the natural, or towards the main base ramp before he canceled it. So this Oracle might be the first meaningful scout that Hero's going to get in the main base.
Okay, because I wonder if the Void Ray is just a response to have just something to fight a possible all-in. And so he's going to be driven out there, 2 sentries just waiting inside you know, the main for him. 2 Adepts going to come up here now. And he does not get the block, so these Adepts can come right back here. And this is always worth it. If you can get 2 Adepts into their main, it's one of the easiest ways to do the most damage in a StarCraft 2 PvP.
Yeah, already 3 probes getting taken out.
You know, I actually thought he was going to get a lot more than that, to be honest.
It's still a good trade, honestly. I mean, 2 Adepts for 3 probes is excellent. Classic actually going for the Dark Shrine behind this, too.
Yeah, the Dark Shrine is interesting. Where was that actually made?
It's proxied on the top left side of the map right now. And 2 more Adepts also getting into Hero's base. Oh, this is kind of a frantic early game here for Hero. Not only is he losing probes to this Adept harassment, he's also losing a lot of mining time.
Yeah, this is a little bit painful, and the DTs could completely blindside you. A lot of times you'll be getting hit like this and expect that the next attack is going to be one that is going to totally bludgeon you, right? It's going to be strength. It's going to be might in the attack, and instead this is going to be a punish where you don't have any detection. Now, he's got Oracles out here, but you can see already, you know, their mana is being burned on trying to kill workers to try to balance this out. And he does balance it out. He gets 7 probe kills, but the inevitable DT that's going to come in here could be game-ending.
Yeah, especially if Hero decides he wants to spend more energy on stasis wards or go back in for harassment. And I think even more than that, usually with these Oracles, they're not going to be very well contested by the opponent in the early game. So you're using them to gather scouting information, and a lot of that just revolves around you flying around the opponent's base and looking for probes, looking to find damage. Now, luckily, Hero's actually scouting around. I'm not sure if he saw the glimmer of the DTs. Oh, he just misses the Dark Shrine in the proxy gateway. So Hero still has no idea. But nonetheless, the Oracles are well positioned for the first Revelation.
Does he have enough? You want to separate the DTs, by the way, so that Revelation can't be used. Okay, he's going to block the ramp. He does get tagged. Where's the other DT? Somehow I lost track of it. Okay, it's back over here.
Well deflected there by Hero. No damage found by the DTs just yet. I think Classic was hoping that Hero might be a little bit more active on Classic side of the map, trying to find damage with those Oracles.
I think the goal is that you get in there and just start to hit the probes. You can see that, you know, once you see the body blocking happening with the Stalkers, like, you're not going to get up there. StarCraft 2 DTs, when they get spotted, they die, like, immediately. They don't have any tankiness at all. So the second DT is out here now. It might end up triggering the stasis ward.
Classic's launching an attack at the 3rd base of Hero, which is considerably faster than Classic 3rd base at home. So Classic definitely wants to get something done right now. He's going to focus down the Void Ray. It gets taken out. I don't think Blink is done yet here for Hero. Okay, it is, in fact. So he is going to blink some of these Stalkers back. Classic still has the better numbers. And now a DT in the main base of Hero is picking up probe damage. I'm not even sure if Hero's realized this just yet. He seems like he's fixated on trying to defend here in the main base. Only just now does the Revelation come in. And that DT get cleaned up, but 10 probes have fallen.
Yeah, I mean, that is a lot of damage. 10 probes killed. luckily for Hero, he actually had enough to hold the Stalkers off, but he might not have enough with the next attack that could come in here. I mean, Classic is really moving very quickly in this game. We're seeing Hero try to stabilize again. He's just now started his +1 attack. There's a lot of upgrades about to finish here for Classic. So I think if Hero can't hold here, he will lose. If he does, the game will go on.
Classic once more attacking in, shaving off 1 or 2 probes, then pulling back out. Even though it seems like, oh, nice blink forward by both of them, honestly. Unfortunately for Hero, just not enough to actually one-shot Stalkers after that last volley, so some of Classic Stalkers now pretty deep in the red, but surviving. And even though it's 13 Stalkers to 9 right now in Classic's favor with even more warping in, it's kind of hard to push into the third base of Hero with a shield battery, with the closer reinforcements. So Classic for now, going to back off, and it seems like he's already gearing up for a 4th base.
Yeah, Classic going to go for that 4th right here at 6 o'clock. More gateways ballooning out on both sides. And we're kind of getting into late game PvP here. This has been a much more dramatic macro game and not that kind of poppy one side kills the other PvP that we see a lot of in Korean PvPs in StarCraft 2. But I would say Classic is steadily ahead here. You know, getting that extra base means you're going to get the income from those resources sooner, which means you might be able to get the bigger army. Hero is now taking his 4th in a more central location on the map.
Force space timing is a lot better here for Classic, and it will be nice for Hero to actually catch this Dark Shrine and prevent any more harassment like this from coming in to his base back at home.
We'll see if that's even remade back at home or not.
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's not really central to what you need. He'll probably just use the DTs he's got over here. And although Hero's been a little bit behind here, I think he's playing a perfectly good game. We are getting Immortals here from Classic in high numbers. He's about to get the 2nd one out. He'll probably have a 3rd start after that. And the Immortals really are the anti-Stalker unit in PvP.
Yeah, the notable thing about Hero's game plan right now is that he never went to charge, he never built a Templar Archives, or got a robotics facility for Immortals. So it's going to be a pure Stalker army here for Hero, and that means that if he wants to have a good chance versus the more powerful charge lock Immortal composition of Classic, Hero's going to need to get active on the map the way that he's doing right now. He needs to start shaving off units in small numbers because that is what Stalkers excel at. They don't excel at big fights. They want to take skirmishes like this one where they kill a couple of Stalkers, maybe a couple of Zealots too, and then blink back to safety.
DT shot down by the cannon. Hero looking to maybe poke in here one more time. He's got to be careful though. I mean, there's a much more sophisticated army here from Classic. You know, the Zealots, the Immortals. Like, I don't know that Hero can be out here for too much longer. But you made a good point, State. I mean, Hero kind of locked into this tech in order to stay competitive. But I don't know if he's going to be able to overcome Classic in this position right now.
Hero is beginning the transition, researching charge back at home, adding even a 2nd Forge right now to start compounding the upgrades. But let's see what he's able to get done with these Stalkers. Even shaving away just a couple of Zealots like this, as long as they're favorable trades. These are one of the reasons that these Stalkers are going to remain viable here in the mid-game for Hero. Moves forward once again. Classic with a little bit less range damage. Finds it hard to go for the engagement with so many Zealots caught in stasis.
Yeah, these Zealots, they're not going to be frozen for much longer. He'll probably have to push in as these finish, and he's going to do exactly that. Hero trying as hard as he can. The problem is this area, it's a little bottleneck-ish, right? It's kind of hard to actually get in there and get the surface area where it's not bad for all, you know, of those Stalkers. They're not all stuck in the back like this.
It does feel like Hero is accomplishing what he wants to with this trade, though. You know, he's losing a couple of Stalkers here and there to the superior firepower of the Immortals, but by and large, it's Hero picking off units. Even right there, it gets an Immortal. He's been able to shave off a ton of Zealots as well. And eventually, Hero's going to be transitioning into more charge lots. He will be adding in probably a Templar Archives or a Dark Shrine, 4 Archons behind it. For now, though, he's content to just keep warping in Stalkers. It is now 36 Stalkers here for Hero.
You can see he's making cannons back at home because he knows the only way that he's going to get in a bad position now is if Zealots come in and try to hit his other bases. So he's going to have stuff there. Speaking of which, Zealots are going to come in here from behind. Oh, kind of a weird engagement. And Classic's going to blink on top of this. So many Stalkers taking damage. Classic continuing to advance. It's going to be kind of a funny position where those cannons that were intended to hold off harassing Zealots are now going to be part of holding off the actual push from Classic.
And Classic still only on 4 bases. The 5th expansion here for Hero is going to be finishing up in just a second. And it's right in front of Classic's fourth base. This is a very awkward position for Classic. It feels like he has to commit to an attack right now, but it's a hard position to attack into. It's similar to Hero's attacks there at the fourth base. There's just this choke point in front and then 3 photon cannons with shield batteries behind them. Classic gonna blink forward, trying to shave off a couple of Stalkers. Both sides losing a little bit. It's still, by the way, pure Stalkers for Hero. I think charge is done now, but he hasn't warped in any charge lots.
He's gonna relocate up here to the side, and we're seeing Hero scramble to try to get over here with his own Stalkers. Again, another kind of awkward position here, especially for Hero. I mean, it's kind of can't really take full advantage of this giant arc that's around this position right now.
Enough Stalkers that he can walk forward and snipe on Immortal with just 1 shot, though. And honestly, the upgrade's really starting to pay off here for Hero. It's +3 ground weapons and +1 armor versus just the +2 ground weapons here for Classic. And in a mirrored composition like this one with, what, 1 Immortal and a couple of Zealots being the defining factor in terms of difference, I kind of like Hero's position. Even though the angle of attack isn't the best for him, Classic does have the better concave. Players continuing to trade out. It's hard to determine who's actually getting the better end of all of this, but Hero's got the healthier Stalker count, and that's the defining factor I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Stalkers are so strong here for Hero. The problem is that it seems like the numbers are getting a little bit smaller. You're seeing that a lot of the Stalkers in the back just can't shoot. And, you know, this arc, it's really healthy here for Classic. The next wave of Zealots here, you know, if he has the charge ready to go, he could try to push in, but Classic's going to back up. Nice pickup. Saves the Immortal.
Hero's already been able to pick off so many of these Immortals. Classic also going for a 5th expansion, too, as Hero is going to pull back from this engagement. Really more of an epic PvP battle than we've honestly been expecting here in game number 1. I was thinking it might be a pretty short game, but
no, this is
5
very
bases.
welcome. Yeah, he's going to blink in now. He does have the Immortals in the back. The Zealots are going to be coming into the front here. He's still juggling with the Warp Prism. Some of these Immortals not really firing.
It's so hard, especially when both players are playing a Stalker composition like this one. You know, the Immortal, it's the slower unit. Naturally, when you attack move, it's going to be the Stalkers that are going into the front. And Classic's building Immortals 2 at a time now. He added in a second robotics facility behind all of this. And he blinks forward, able to shave off, I think, 1 or 2 Stalkers, but Hero then blinking back again. It's a very intricate dance between these two. Hero, by the way, at 6 o'clock going for a big, big counterattack with Zealots. The first big counterattack coming in here by Hero. That will prompt a recall.
Yeah, he's just going to recall the chunk of his army in the middle over there. That was
it was actually one Observer and 1 Immortal.
Oh, that's so funny. He did it so fast. But Classic's going to keep pushing. And you can see the Zealot warp in. It can fight some of this, but there's actually more Zealots here for Hero. You got to be careful, too, when you're close to maxing out, because suddenly you lose the ability to just warp in whatever you need anywhere, right? Your supply won't let you get that much more in there. Hero's going to do the counter push here. There are 5 Immortals in this group.
Hero taking a 6th expansion now at the 12 o'clock position. He's been a pace ahead of Classic in terms of taking these extra bases. That's a big reason why his economy's gotten so much better. And Hero actually blinks forward, goes for the Immortals right now, but he doesn't have enough to take on the Immortals. Oh no, a huge blunder from Hero. He just lost so many Stalkers.
I can't believe he did that. That's crazy to me. Now Hero is still tearing up, you know, the workers over here at these other bases, but I'm worried that a full counter push here from Classic could be fatal.
I mean, the only reason the supplies are close now is because Classic's lost a lot of probes during all of this. The army supplies are double in the advantage of Classic. Hero only just now able to rebuild that Stalker count. He will be able to snipe a base from this. So this is still a very playable position here for Hero, but boy, did he make things hard on himself, going for that aggressive link forward, trying to snipe those Immortals.
So this is going to be the moment of truth here. Can Hero hold off this push? Hero has really damaged the economy. The problem is that this is like a train with no brakes headed right towards Hero's base, and if Hero can't fight the army, he might end up losing everything regardless.
There's not a lot of static defense here at the 12 o'clock expansion. 1 Stasis 4 going to be here. It'll only catch 1 Zealot as Classic's moving in for the kill. Finally, Classic with superior numbers able to blink forward. And Hero, he's still trying to get damage done. Classic actually remade the Dark Shrine during all of this. and is now using the DTs defensively to try and stunt the aggression coming in from Hero. Another big warp in of Zealots here for our Protoss player, but it just seems like Classic has too much around the front line. Is there detection, though? There's no Observer here for Classic. Both players now with Dark Shrines. The DTs are melting Classic's army. Oh my goodness, will this turn the game around?
Dude, that's a lot of damage they're taking right over there. He takes out the Warp Prism. This is like 5 DTs or something coming through. Both sides economically in shambles here. We have Classic currently long distance mining still from his 5th base. I mean, this is just an insane PvP.
Oh, this is ridiculous. The safety DTs coming in there for Hero just botched the attack of Classic. I mean, Classic was moving in. The Observer, I wonder if it got sniped at some point or if it was sent back at home to try and deal with harassment there from Hero.
Yeah, well,
in any case, there was no Observer at the front. The DTs melted the army of Classic.
He might have gotten carried away making those Immortals, you know? I mean, it was such a Stalker-centric game. I almost felt like it was never going to not be that. Nice snipe over there onto the Warp Prism. Classic is falling apart. GG, unreal win. Whoa. Hero is so good. And by the way, that was Classic in a position where he was looking pretty strong. Hero was really kind of bending the rules of PvP to try to keep himself in the game. The counterattacks were brilliant by Hero, and then the DTs at the last second to hold that off was incredible.
I mean, the DTs really saved the day there for Hero. Again, I think the Hero was in a very winning position before he decided he wanted to blink in on top of those Immortals in the front line. It feels like he made his position much harder to play with that aggressive move. But this is one of the things that Hero kind of does, honestly, is that he's always looking for opportunities to take little gambles, and sometimes they don't pay off the way it did right there, but eventually Hero does enough of these and he's good enough at them that something is going to stick. Like the switch to the Dark Shrine to get 5 DTs to clean up Classic's army. Maybe there was a revelation, he sniped the Observer earlier on. You know, there was so much happening on the map there. It's possible our Observer didn't catch it. It's possible that we didn't catch it. But Hero just able to finesse out one more win in an epic PvP between these two. I mean, that went up to 6 bases on each side, maybe like 10, 15-minute PvP. It's rare that you get a macro game like that in this matchup.
Yeah, well, I loved it. Very impressive stuff here from Hero, playing a very different brand of PvP in order to stay in that game, and ultimately coming through. Hero in the top right, Classic in the bottom left. And, yeah, let's see if we get another crazy macro game like that. Both sides back there basically went for, like, kind of, you know, mild teching, I guess is one way to put it, right? Like, I'll get a Stargate, and then I'll also get a Nexus, or I'll get 2 gateways, we'll get, you know, sentries and adepts and expand, and so those are how you end up with crazy late games like that, because no one's doing anything that's really decisive early on. Stargate tech in general is it's generally pretty tame. I mean, we do have games, let's say you both go for Stargates and you're both going for Phoenixes, you get weird games like that, but you know, Stargate generally kind of lets you harass, lets you scout. You can defend with a Void Ray like we saw in that game. I think that's why the Void Ray was made after the expansion. I think Hero had maybe a slight misread and thought, oh, I think you're one-basing me. Well, a Void Ray sometimes, like, that could snipe a Warp Prism or fight some Stalkers or, you know, do something, right? Anyways, in this game, both players are going for double gate. We don't see any definitive tech here post-Cybernetics Core, but we will eventually. We always do in PvP.
It's notable that Hero this time is opting for the second gateway. In game number 1, he went for a 1-gate expansion. I'm not sure how much of that was a response to just seeing the build setup here of Classic, where the 2 gateways not at the natural ramp, instead here just kind of flush up next to the Nexus with a 1-tile gap. But this will be a very different game here moving forward. It is 2-gate on both sides. That means that the aggressive potential is much higher for either of them. And we'll see if that's going to transpose into something a little bit more 1-basey between these two.
Okay, double Stalker on both sides. When things look this identical in the build orders, they tend to mean that you're going to end up with both players getting expansions. It's just an inevitability. You know, the more that the game looks totally mirrored, it's totally impossible to end, right? No one's going to have more or some kind of, you know, tech difference that gives them an edge. Nice, takes the probe out.
That pro was fighting for its life, Tasteless.
Yeah. Okay, Robo started. Both players sending double stalker across the map. We don't have any. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got Robo over here, so they're both still one basing.
Third gateway getting added in now for Hero. We'll see if Classic is going to do the same thing.
How unusual to see this on both sides.
I mean, Robo is, it's the most common tech to go into if you're going to be trying to get something aggressive here on one base. And I suppose with both players going for the third gateway, they're kind of maybe hoping that their opponent will expand and they can kind of flex the muscle of this build.
Exactly.
But similar to what you said earlier with a mirrored opening with 2 gateway and 2 gateway, I feel like this one has a very good chance of also just going into both players expanding, you know? And Classic, he's a little bit later to the punch right now. He's still setting up and he hasn't really saved very much money for Nexus. In fact, he's going for the Warp Prism. So we might have Classic coming into the attack and Hero trying to defend.
Yeah. Well, you know, if Hero... Okay, hold on a second. Hero should not be out on the map like this because this is going to make the push that much stronger here from Classic. And this makes me a little bit worried. The Warp Prism's going to be out. Now, the Immortal started back at home. You're going to come through here. You're going to see exactly what kind of game this is going to be. The question is there a battery back there? Does he have enough to defend? The Immortal, by the way, not even close to the ramp. The Robo, I mean, is not close to the ramp, so it's like not going to be that easy to fight this. An Immortal will beat Stalkers, although with a Warp Prism, you can juggle it pretty nicely. Classic's actually going to come forward, possibly to harass. Never mind, he's going to do a full-on push. I thought with just the 4 Stalkers, like maybe he wants to go in the main. I guess it doesn't really make sense as I say it out loud. Much better to try to push here. There is one sentry on each side. Guardian Shield available here for Hero. It's probably what he wants to go for. There he goes.
And Hero pushing forward right now. That Immortal actually blocked by the warp, the force field. It cannot go back.
God.
But Hero, you know, stutter stepping forward like this, he's able to pick off pretty much everything. The force field was good there, trapping the Immortal, but Hero just out-microing Classic. I mean, everything for Classic pretty much evaporated with that engagement.
Yeah, and now the second Immortal is going to come out here, and I think the numbers are too low. He's going to switch it up and go into the main for harass.
And Classic's already just decided that this is not going to work, but he knows it's too late for him to try and transition into an expansion. So he's throwing down a Robo Bay. We might get something like a Speed Prism or a Disruptor behind this coming in from Classic, which is kind of like, it's just what you go for when the build doesn't go as well, but the Warp Prism with 3 Stalkers also gets sniped, so that's going to be it, I guess, here for the first series. We are not getting a run back of epic macro PvP. We get one of the fastest matches you could possibly get in this matchup instead. Hero with a 2-0 win, going to move on into the winner's match. And I really wish we had like an instant replay feature or something where we could jump back into that engagement between Hero and Classic, because at the start of the fight, with Classic pushing in, he was the one with the Warp Prism. I was expecting him to way out trade Hero.
Yeah.
And then you blink, and Classic's army is gone, and Hero still has pretty much everything.
Yeah.
There was something that I missed. I just wasn't expecting to catch.
I wonder how many Stalkers you really need to have to where you can just focus down the Immortal. Because he did get to focus it down, but like when the Immortal was killed, it's like, oh, you don't have enough.
Yeah, the Immortal is such a crucial part of the defense, but you would think with the Warp Prism, the survivability for Classic should be through the roof. I mean, the Warp Prism is like the ace. It's the most crucial part of that army.
It's everything. I mean, if you lose the Warp Prism, you lose the game, which is why when he lost it finally back there, he had to tap out. Guys, we're going to go to a short break, but coming up next, Clem versus Cure.
that you're longing for a little change. A bit of something different in a different place. Somewhere the grass is greener. Call it a spiritual healer. I hear you, darling, I feel ya. Me and you, there's nothing we can't do together. Come on, let's go fly away. Find a beautiful escape. With the wind on our backs, we'll be going so fast. There's no need to be afraid. Come on, let's go fly away now. Come on, let's go fly away. I never feel lost even in the unknown. 'Cause when I'm with you, yeah, it feels like home. Feels like home. Me and you, there's nothing we can do.
GSL Season 2.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're going to go into this. Now, it says TVT on screen, but I think it's going to be a TVP. Clem has been switching to Protoss when he's against Terran.
Yeah, it'll be. I would be shocked if we had Clem play a TBT here. I think it's most likely to be Clem playing Protoss versus Cure and Terran versus everybody else here in this group. And this is going to be a lot of fun to watch because, you know, Clem kind of plays a different brand, I feel, of PvT than basically everybody else. I mean, there is kind of the meta of PvT. I guess, let me dial that back really quickly. Strategically, it looks very similar a lot of the time, especially if you're trying to play like the macro game where it's all about just trying to take bases at a rapid pace, trying to build up to an army, and then kind of throw that at the Terran. But Clem and MaxPax both kind of play this unique brand in terms of the way they maneuver with their army, where they almost both play like a Terran player, where they're just trying to use superior mechanics to constantly try and shave away opponent units, try and find some way of getting a small edge, and it leads to very aggressive but very entertaining games.
He is a Terran player playing PvT.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you definitely see like the personality, the behaviors kind of come out there, and I welcome it. I'm excited to see what exactly Clem's going to try to do. I do think that Cure has some of the best TVP out there.
Especially the defensive TVP that we've seen already here in the GSL.
Now, that might not matter because Clem might not play like that. You know, if you're not both doing the same dance, then it doesn't really matter how good you are at certain types of matchups, especially if, Clem is going to be trying to push, trying to go for damage, trying to go for kills. That's very different. You know, when we look at players like Classic, we saw it with Hero versus Cure, they're able to just sort of stay back and just keep taking the map and eventually getting to what for most Terrans is like this economic superiority where it doesn't really matter what you try to do from there. The Protoss player can buy their way back into opportunities, usually through counterattacks. Usually not through hitting your main armor. You kind of just wear the Terran down until they're, basically broken. They're used up and they can't actually get very much done. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's not going to matter here with someone like Clem, because Clem's probably going to play a much more active, engaged game.
Yeah, it feels like Clem, you know, it's been a little bit since I've watched him play PvT just because of the way that time zones have shaken out. But when he does play PvT, it's very active. It's almost reminiscent of Hero. You know, Hero's another one of those players who just constantly goes for the throat, tries to get damage done. But Kira's been playing such a good brand of defensive Terran versus Protoss when he decides to play that game. You know, the way that the current state of TVP is, from the Terran's perspective, is you kind of have, at this level, 2 timings in the game, which are your opportunity to win. It's either very early on with an early push, maybe on the back of some early aggression and harassment, or it's in the late game with a superior army being able to sacrifice the majority of your SCVs and replace them with mules and get some more army supply. That's usually the way it goes for Terran. Terran doesn't have very many winning chances in the mid-game if Protoss decides to take basically all the bases they can on the map, goes for mass warp gates, plays a low-tech army, because Protoss is basically just... It's like Gateway Man. It's Ooga Booga. They're a caveman with a big stick, and they just want to keep throwing armies at you and beat you with sheer superiority in terms of economy. And Kira's been the best at just trying to play defensive against that. So I wonder how this is going to look, because thinking of all the Terran players in the world I would like to study in terms of defensive macro TVP, and it's literally either Kira or Maru. I can't think of anybody else who's going to be able to deliver at this level.
I agree with that, basically. One other thing to note is that, let's say that Clem wins here. By the way, I think Clem gets out of this group. I think that's a completely, reasonable prediction, well over 50%. We have GSL offline next week on Sunday. 6-7, 6-7. That day, don't forget it.
June 7th.
But that means that he will be playing in our studio.
That would be awesome. When's the last time we had a foreigner in the round of 4? Jinro made it in the past, didn't he?
I was going to say, I think it's Jinro.
I think Huck might have made it at one point. I can't remember if he made it into a round of 4.
No, I actually
it's been so long. This is like literally 15 plus years ago.
I don't think that's true, because I remember thinking, all right, Jinro's in the round of 4. That was like such a memorable period in my life because GSL had just started. And I really wanted him to go to the finals, and I thought, okay, well, every season after that, I was like, okay, well, foreigners are getting less and less deep in the tournament.
Even
when
Raider played quite a bit, but he never made it to the round of 4, right? I think he mostly made it to the
round of 8 or round of 16.
Yeah. Oh, it would be exciting.
Raider, I thought, would go deeper. Like, he was in very good shape, and I remember him being pretty bummed when he didn't go deeper. And I think this is when he was doing in Gamers 8. You know what I mean? He was having a lot of tournaments he was really winning at. Anyways, I think we're finally ready to go into this game. Hey, Clem, do you like Korean spicy food? I can tell you, man, if Clem is truly a Frenchman, he does not.
I like the way that they wrote this in Hangul too. It's literally just the English but pronounced in Korean.
Yeah.
It's not a translation. That's literally what he said.
Yeah, one thing about being a foreigner in Korea is a lot of Koreans assume that foreigners can't eat spicy food. And I want to say right now, it's the Europeans that did this to all of us, because it's usually the Europeans that can't eat the spicy food.
Why can't guys eat spicy food?
They don't have a lot of spicy. If you go to France or Germany, they don't have a lot of spicy food.
I haven't been to Europe too many times.
When you're an American, we have Mexican food.
Right.
We're all eating Mexican food.
It's a boiling pot of cuisines, and so many cuisines have a lot of spicy foods with them.
Exactly. Not that Europe doesn't have that mix of foods, but I think we have more exposure to fighting foods. We got Koreatown. You got a lot of Chinatowns.
This is adorable. I'm very motivated to do well since my goal is to make it to the round of 4 to play offline. It would make me very happy.
Yes.
But do you like spicy food?
But what about the food, Clem? Can you eat it or not? Answer the question.
I think Clem just recognized, the importance of oh man, I'm a foreigner out here playing in the GSL. I might be able to make it to the round of 4. What should I say? And Kira's been dude, this is I don't know how many times I've been in the round of 8.
Yeah. This is just another day in my life.
What's the next sentence they have to give to the production
I've given
team?
this production so many sentences before. This is normal to me. This is every day.
Now, this is going to be an exciting day. I am ecstatic that we have Clem here in the round of 8 in the GSL. And I'm really pulling for him, man. I would love for him to make it to the round of 4 offline finals just a week away. But this is a pretty stacked group. Cure He's either the best or the second best Terran player in Korea on any given day for the past, I don't know how many years. And so Clem, even though he's kind of a PvT master, you know, he plays this matchup on both sides. He's excellent at TVP, he's excellent at PvT. I think Kira's going to be a very challenging opponent in this best of 3.
Yeah, this is going to be fun, man. Tour Lemaine. Kind of sounds like a French map, to say it.
Isn't it a rock?
I don't know.
I think we have 2 different rock maps. We have Ruby Rock and Tourmaline.
Yes, but is it a French rock is the question.
I'm sure they got some of them.
Stay on point. All right, so by the way, Clem did go for Protoss here. That would have been really funny if he hadn't done that. I'm like, oh, never mind.
No, I wouldn't be ready to cast this at all.
I'd be like, well, I just was so confident that this would not be a TVT. I'm not prepared for anything. So Clem goes for an immediate probe scout. Cross spots here, just to go right in the main and see that the barracks is in fact making there or not. And this game it will be.
Oh, Kira's doing this again.
Yeah, this is good. It's a better spot to put it if the probe's inside your base. Harder for the SCV to get harassed.
I feel like we didn't see this very much until this year in GSL, where, you know, Terran players, when the Protoss player sends an early probe scout across the map to try and get some harassment done, we noticed earlier on that a lot of Terran players, I think Kira might have been the first one to do this, will build the barracks in exactly the place that he's building it right now, just to reduce the service area that the SCV might be exposed at to this scouting probe. It's a nice little wrinkle in early game TVP. It's been cool to see this this develop.
Okay, so for now, you know, the probe basically just getting the confirm. This is a normal game. I think he wants to check if there was an add-on or anything. But you basically always make the Marine first, right? He's going to go back in, just looking for anything. You know, if you don't have a factory, that's information. There's not a second barracks. There is an SCV kind of hugging the side here. Oh!
Clem spots it. All right, so Clem gets a confirmation this is going to be 1 rack expand here for Kira, and it's a Marine first, so likely going to be a very fast factory follow-up. And notably here, Clem actually went for Cybernetics Core before Nexus, so this is definitely coming across the map very quickly. And Clem got 1 probe hit down on that Marine, which you might think, okay, well, 1 probe hit, what's that going to do? It allows actually the Adept to 2-shot instead of 3-shot the Marine. So if Clem goes for maybe 1 more Adept after this one, we might see him try and get a little bit of pressure done here in the early game.
So it's going to be expand into attack here. Pretty conservative game from Cure overall here. That's too bad that that command center got spotted. You can see Clem just maximized, you know, how much info he could get, and did get that confirm on that. So it's, you know, when you see that command center, it's a very smooth game for Protoss for the next minute or 2. You know, all you got to do is cut as many corners as you can, get as many probes out as you can, tack up, because you can't be attacked. He's going to run up here, see the tech lab. You can assume the starport starts when you see that as well, although he might have actually seen it.
I'm not sure if he's been able to spot that with the Adept just yet, but I think you naturally expect this to be the follow-up here from Cure.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly what the architecture is going to be here for Terran, or you know what units are going to be making out of the factory and the starport, but you know it's going to be a 1-1-1 opening when you see 1 gas in a reactor like this. So Cure now sending the orbital command down to the natural expansion. Ooh, a little bit of a miss micro there from Clem, losing the first Adept.
That sucks.
A bit uncharacteristic here for Clem, but it's not the end of the world. He's continuing to develop pretty helpfully, and he's actually opting for, I think, 4-gate blink here with a Robo.
Yeah. Is this a decent 4-gate map? I guess it is if you look at the access point on the side of the main. Now, Cure's going to move out here. Now, this is dangerous just because it's going to be 4 gates. So, like, the Protoss is going to have a lot to fight with here as these gateways finish. Now, as he moves out, oh, this is actually going to be an ambush. He's in the bush, just waiting. Okay, he's going to advance a little bit further forward now that the medevac is going to be able to meet with the rest of this. There is a warp prism coming, so if Cure messes this attack up, the counterattack from Clem is going to be massive. Got to be careful. The Cyclone is very, very microable in a situation like this.
Blink is not done just yet. That Warp Prism also close to completion. Both Blink and the Warp Prism can be used to try and break the lock on there with the Cyclone, and I think Cure is sensing a little bit of danger. They're actually pulling an SCV, or not an SCV, bringing this first siege tank all the way across the map. He wants to push this early, but this is 4-gate Blink Stalker here for Clem. Siege tank getting entrenched right now, deploying in the grass. Clem doesn't see it. Drops 1 Stalker. No third base yet for Protoss.
Okay, so he's going to do a full-on counter. No, 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 no! Oh my god.
Clem moving in again.
Okay. The SCVs are pulled. Cure going for the kill here. And there should be a big warp in here from Clem. Or it's just going to be pure Stalker harass. Maybe he wants to just kill SCVs and actually recall this back home and then try to fight that way.
Yeah, I think you're going to need to recall this at some point. Here is Clem, as Cure's pushing in right now. It's a lot of SCVs. These Stalkers, they can slowly chip away at some of this army. They can shave off a couple of Marines here and there, but in terms of pure firepower, Cure has so much more on his side right now. The thing is, with 4 gateways of production, even if Clem loses 1 or 2 gateways here in the front line, as Stalkers have recalled, he will be able to warp in more units at home. Probes might get pulled here on the defense. Clem, it looks like he is setting up for a full surround right now. There are several different groups of Stalkers. Now he's charging in on every front. Stalkers near the third base, blink forward, get 1 siege tank. The Stalkers in the natural expansion also blink forward, pick off 1 more siege tank. Probes are pulled, absorbing the brunt of the damage right now from these Marines. And Cure, I think that he has enough to continue to push in and shave off more probes, more Stalkers.
But I don't know.
But Clem should be able to stabilize from this.
Yeah, I think Clem's okay. I think he's barely going to... Well, hold on a second. Tanks are going to come in here from the side. Oh my god, he had to blink out of his own base. He's going to have to pull the workers. Remember that... well, actually, Cure's on 34 SCVs to 29. Okay, maybe actually he is okay. He's going to have more Stalkers warping here again. He's going to go for this Nexus. Can he actually blink on top of that tank and get the kill? He does! Nice micro. Can he actually whittle this down? There's nothing to heal the Terran. Really great control by Clem. He's going to go fly across the map. He wants to do a counter punch here. The problem, though, Clem actually lost a lot of workers back there. So, you know, even though Cure took a beating, Cure's initial army was so strong that it kind of put him back in the game when he managed to hit Clem. Now, is the main protected? A scan's going to spot that, and this is a double Viking here. So I don't believe that he can actually save the warp. No, yeah, obviously he cannot save the warp prison from that. He can kill the 2 Vikings off and blink out.
And a couple of Marines, too, before he finally blinks all the way down. Unfortunately, does trade out 1 Stalker. And Cure, after that push into the natural expansion of Clem, did have a significantly higher worker count. But Clem, baking those Chrono Boosts, now using all of them onto the pro production back at home, has been able to close the gap. It is Clem on 3 bases versus a Cure on 2 bases. And I'm not sure that Clem will be able to get too much damage done, especially now that the Observer has gotten sniped. It'll take a hallucinated Phoenix or something to be able to get back into that main base. I think Cure is going to build up for 1 more push. He has Stim and Combat Shields being researched right now. He's continuing to add on barracks. There is no 3rd command center just yet.
Right.
The question is, can Clem actually deal with that push when it comes across the map? And I think the answer is yes. He has 5 more gateways in production. Soon he will be fully saturated on the minerals for all 3 of these bases. And Colossi are not too far away.
Yeah, and you know, charge lots are great. You're able to just kind of overrun a lot of 2-base play. A lot of 2-base plays are shut down when you have enough Zealots here, because the Marines are just very, very squishy. You'll die very quickly to that. Okay, here comes that push now. No SCVs pulled here. Clem with the spotter Stalkers needs to hightail it out of here.
Oh, SCVs just got pulled from the natural expansion. Cure is doubling down. First Colossus nearly done. Thermal Lance still maybe 60 or 70 seconds away. Does Clem actually have enough to deal with this? It's going to be close, Tasteless. The armor supply right now, it's in Cure's advantage, and with only 1 Colossus without range, it's going to be hard for Clem to actually clean up all of these Marines and SCVs.
Yeah, this is a lot. This has to work, though, for Cure. The Colossus is sidestepping pretty nicely. Still basically at full shields and full HP. Oh my god, well, I say that, and then the tanks all targeted it. So he needs to get the battery on that if he's ever going to be able to move in there. Now, the Forced Siege is not quite in range of a base. So, you know, he's got an... Oh, hold on. He's going to move in right now.
Siege Tank's trying to focus fire down that Colossus, but it keeps moving out of range. The Zealots have thinned out here, though, for Clem, and Cure continuing to power through is going to chase down these Stalkers here in the natural expansion of Clem. Siege Tanks Still garrisoned up between the natural expansion and the third base. Thermal Lance nearly done. That upgrade takes so long to finish. 100 seconds for Thermal Lance to fully research.
I think Clem might be dead here.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, the Marines are so low on HP, but can Clem actually muster enough army to get on top of this? You know, nothing can really touch these Marines. They're too quick.
Yeah, he's warping in more and more down here at the bottom. You can see the trickle of reinforcements coming up through the top of the map here. A lot more probes are going to be killed off. The Stalkers can't contest this. He's going to try one more time to come through here and do that damage. The targeting here with the tanks on the Colossus is great. It's going to drive it back out. GG. Cure takes game number 1.
Wow, that was a pretty fun game number 1 between these two. Clem barely hanging on after the first push, and then Cure hits really the perfect timing there with push number 2. Another SCV pull. He perfectly geared up for that one with stim, with combat shields. He was able to hit just at the perfect moment to stop Clem before Clem got fully online. Only one Colossus was out. There was no Thermal Lance. And Clem simply didn't have an answer to that army.
Yeah, so we're going to go to White Rabbit here for map number 2. That was such a close game. Like, that was, you know, until the very end, you did not know who was going to take it. It's interesting to see, you know, the initial damage done by Clem. And again, that was a 4-gate. You know, ideally, you're basically punishing the Terran the whole time. It turned into just a Warp Prism flying across the map, trying to kill workers off. And he did, I think he killed over a dozen SCVs back there before the recall had to happen. But the reality was Cure's attack was so strong and lasted for so long. A lot of workers were killed. A lot of infrastructure was torn apart there. That Clem was never really in a position where he could survive the next attack.
All right, game number 2 loaded up between these two. It's going to be White Rabbit, LE. Cure spawning in the bottom left is the blue Terran, Clem. The red Pronoss in the top right. Another early probe scout coming in here for Clem. We'll see where Cure wants to take us here in this game number 2, because I feel like Clem, even though he is capable of going for some kind of quirky, aggressive build or something like that, he's likely just going to be playing standard throughout this series. If I were to place a bet on it, I think that Clem is probably just going to try and play a macro game pretty much every single time. And it's up to Cure, in my opinion, to decide whether he wants to go for some kind of early pressure build with another attack follow-up, the same way that he did there in game number 1, or if he wants to try and play an exhaust style in TVP. And I feel like Clem is so well-rounded and so knowledgeable of this matchup. It might be a mistake to try and play the exhaust play here versus somebody of his caliber.
I think he's probably going to be doing the same kind of engaged play that we've seen from Clem in this matchup before. I mean, Clem does not seem to be... I mean, look, you know, we'll find out. So we're probably going to have several PVTs. Actually, maybe not, because depending on how this group goes.
Yeah, it's just Cure.
I was going to say, yeah, that you know, unless Cure like advances here and then gets knocked back into the losers, and Clem wins in the losers. Yeah, you know, it does seem like Clem doesn't do that kind of weird giga macro play that a lot of the other Protosses out in Korea do. But I don't think that's like good or bad. You know, it's just a different approach, different style.
I think that he would want to do it. It's just that it's unlikely that Cure is going to let him get to that space, right?
Yeah, well, he's so strong in it, I think you almost want to avoid it entirely, because he seems to be maybe the only Terran in the world that really has an answer for it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Clem opts to do, but my eyes right now, they're mostly going to be on Cure, because he's going for a pretty similar setup to the way he opened in game number 1. This time he is going for Reapers. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is the second Reaper in production here for Cure, so likely going to be a Reaper Hellion opening here for Terran.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the first one, already cross-map.
Clem with the expand over here, and immediately sees that Reaper coming up. And we got to wait and see what kind of tech it's going to be from Clem. I've seen Clem do that 4-gate robo stuff a lot with Blink, which I think to this day is just really strong. I think you can do it on this map. It's not as good as the previous map to do it on, but it's possible. And we see the Twilight coming here now. It's also possible he does 2 or 3-gate into a 3rd Nexus. That's also been very trendy in general.
And I love the early movement here with the Adept from Clem. He gets the scouting information, he sees the second Reaper, he sees the Hellion, he knows exactly what kind of game this is going to be.
And this is 2 base, by the way, for Clem. Or sorry, for Cure, excuse me. Kira is getting 2 more barracks. He's going to get the tech lab over here on the factory.
Yeah, Kira's going to likely try and find some damage early on. These first 2 Hellions and Reapers. Although for now, I guess he is staying at home, really showing a lot of respect for Clem in this moment, perhaps partly because he was scouted earlier on by the dev. And Clem's continuing to develop. He does add gateway number 3 in addition to the Robo and to the Blink. No 4th gateway just yet, but doesn't make sense. It's not quite as good a map for it here on White Rabbit. So likely going to be Clem trying to go for a 3 gateway Robo expand with Blink into a 3rd base. And Kira, again, powering with the Siege Tanks. Now, Siege Tanks in this matchup, they're such a linchpin, but they're used in both defensive and aggressive play. I feel like Kira is likely going to be going for another timing attack with these, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Stim coming up. You know, this game is going to probably have a whole bunch of different interactions, but it could kind of be hinged on the same big picture, which is Terran trying to come in here and basically pierce the Protos's 3-base position and kill them before the Protoss gets out of control. Whether that be exhaust play, where you just kind of turtle and take the whole map, or if it's going to be very active play, like we tend to see more of Clem actually do, where he tries to get into tech and kind of tries to push the Terran, which makes for an interesting dynamic. You have 2 races pushing each other. But first, Kira is going to come through with the Hellion Reaper and maybe look for probes to kill.
Yeah, it's curious that Kira waited up until the 3rd base is nearly done to try and find damage with the Reapers and the Hellions. Yeah. Usually it feels like the move with the Hellion Reaper is to get out on the map as soon as they are done and just try and dive either the natural expansion or the main base. Although I suppose if you're going against a player of Clem's caliber, if you don't find big damage, the counterpunch of Blinkstalkers could be huge.
I wonder if that's, you know, basically a timer that's set to the in-game timer, where like if Protoss is super greedy, you just end up hitting their 3rd base right when the workers get there.
Could be.
It looks like they ran up there and poked, and then like right then the Nexus was finishing, and right then the probes were sent out. So, anyways, we got that push coming here now. Does he? Okay, he's beating me to it, man. I can't even cast this. He is going to pull SCVs. We got to see how Clem handles this. If he cannot hold this, he will lose the game.
And this push is hitting much harder than the first push did in game number 1 because combat shields and stim are looking to be done. Now the Reapers and Hellions coming in, disrupting the mining at the 3rd base. Clem does have enough units back at home to shoo those away, but already 4 probes have gotten pulled. The 3rd base has been evacuated of workers, and now the boys are arriving with all the Marines, with all the Siege Tanks here right in front of the natural expansion of Clem.
Yeah, he's going to siege up right over here. The blocking, is this going to be enough to protect the tanks? He's going to micro this back. The tank in the back is barely going to get killed. Wow. And, you know, it's hard to say, does he actually have enough here? I guess Terran barely doesn't have enough. There's not enough reinforcements to hold this. Remember, 18 SCVs were pulled in the attack, so he sacrificed 18 workers here. And Clem is going to be chasing him all the way back here, blinking forward. He's going to be hitting that tank. Tank's, of course, terrible at retreating against Zealots with charge and Stalkers with blink.
I mean, that was just a perfect hold.
Yeah.
By Clem. So well done. I mean, in stark contrast to game number 1, where it feels like Kira was able to get so much damage done, whether it be, you know, infrastructure taken out, whether it be probes killed there at the natural expansion. In this case, Clem just in one fall swoop was able to clean up that position entirely. And out here on the back foot, there are no medevacs here for Terran just yet. I'm not even sure. Do we have a starport for Terran? I think it's just barracks in this one factory.
Yeah, I think that's why the push is so strong, is you literally stopped at the factory tech and just made like a bunch of Marines and a bunch of tanks, basically ran out there and hid. I don't know if you can break through here, but I think Clem does. I think Clem thinks yes. You know, there's 2 tanks out here. The 3rd tank's going to come out. He should probably put this on the high ground. Well, hold on a second. Is he just going to... I don't know about this. He's going to push here. Protoss just perfectly backs up there. I was wondering if you could actually run in and hit that when, you know, the tanks are unsieged like this. I think Cure is basically YOLOing this.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like if Clem were to turn around with the army that he's got right now, he would be able to clean up what Cure has. And the SVs are getting pulled again. Clem is going to see this with the Zealots going for the counterattack. Now, what will he choose to do with these Zealots? Will he go into the natural expansion, or will he just send these to one of the 3rd base locations?
I think you just keep them in between.
Yeah.
you're going to lose reinforcements. A lot of times, two-base Terran, one of the best things you can do is just be in between the push. You know, they usually need what they've got and like just a little bit more of the reinforcements to then take the fight. Now, again, the longer the game goes on, the less time these SCVs were mining, which means the more time Clem's probes are mining, which means the more stuff he's going to have. So he has bought quite a bit here. We're going to see how hard this push can hit. Again, there's no medevacs. When you saw unit stim, that was permanent damage.
Yeah, there are 4 siege tanks here with this first round of push. I think the main factor here for Clem, though, is that the zealot count is so high. You know, Clem is going to charge in right now. Those siege tanks are immediately going to be firing in on basically the Marines. Most of the army here for Clem is in these zealots. There are just a small number of stalkers, a small number of sentries, and 1 Colossus. Again, with no medevacs, there won't be any healing coming in here for Cure. Clem setting up for a flank right now with a large group of zealots. He's actually going to catch some reinforcements of Cure's, excuse me.
Decent micro here. He's throwing down bunkers. Now, hold on a second. This is getting kind of scary. The thing is, if you can just kite against these zealots, somebody are so low, the bunkers are about to finish, and that's when Clem is going to try to hit before that happens.
The zealots is charging, and they're making mincemeat of all these Marines. The siege tanks, they do focus down the Colossus, but that is not going to be enough. Clem able to tie it up 1-1 after really just a perfect hold of the first push. And whenever the first push gets stopped like that, I mean, he's playing for a round of 4 seed right now. Obviously, he's going to go for 1 more push, but the game was basically done after Clem was able to stomp that first attack of Cure.
He handled it, I think, literally perfectly. Like, to the point where there was like 2 stalkers and like 2 zealots or something like that. Just enough to kill everything the Terran had. I don't think any workers were really killed for Protoss. Maybe 1 or 2, you know, kind of peripheral units. Terran lost 18 SCVs trying to do that. So that specific build order totally countered. That entire build order is hinged on just basically pulling the rug out from under the Protoss while they're in the middle attacking here. So Clem going to be feeling very confident about that. Don't forget, game 1 was kind of a weird one. They both were kind of gearing up to attack each other, and Cure's hit in such a way that, you know, it really just sustained. It stayed around for a long time and killed off a lot of workers, and Clem was in shambles after that. What's going to happen on Winter Madness here for game number 3?
Yeah, I wonder if Cure is going to be going for the exhaust play or if he'll try another early aggressive build. I think if he opts to go for an early aggressive build, he needs to be pushing faster, or at least getting harassment done earlier than he attacked in game number 2, because if you allow Clem to macro up perfectly on 3 bases, fully saturate the mineral lines, and then you go in for the engagement, I think Clem is a smart enough player. He knows how those Terran builds work inside and out. He will be able to concoct an answer.
Remember, the winner here is going to go up against Hero here in the winner's match. Clem, you know, known as a Terran main, the champion of 2 EWCs ago, but he does pick Protoss versus Terran. We are in a new era, and, you know, this is all kind of dependent on the rules. I'm a little bit more old school. I always liked that players had to lock into a race. A lot of people disagree with me, which is fine. And they think the race picking kind of makes it more interesting. But Clem has opted to race pick here for this matchup.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the race picking thing.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. But it might, we're not there yet. We might never be there. It could be problematic if everybody becomes race picking.
That's what happened in old tournaments, is eventually you had too many people.
Oh, was this a big thing in StarCraft 1?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was really common. Like, a lot of people wanted to be like, I'm Terran against Zerg, I'm Zerg against Protoss, I'm Protoss against Terran. That was the consensus at the time. And so what you'd have is you'd have this like circular problem where it's like, oh, well, if you're going to be Terran, then I'm going to be Protoss. He's like, oh, well, I don't do Terran versus Protoss. I do Zerg versus Protoss. He's like, oh, but I don't. We would literally have that. And you go, well, now we can't figure it out, or you'd have to. And then occasionally they had rules like during the countdown, you just got to try to pick what the race is and counter pick theirs. And
right. I mean, the solution to that is just a blind pick. But then you have some players like if we get people blind picking and say they're both bad at the mirror matchup or whatever the matchup is going to be, that's not the best scenario.
Yeah. Well, so that's. I know in the old days in Korea, they just said you have to lock into a race, and that's your brand for the tournament. And you're not allowed to change. It was either you're not allowed to change in the entire tournament, or you like had to lock in for the series.
I think it was the tournament, because if it was series, it would be no problem for players like Clem or like Rainer. I remember this was
I'm
originally...
talking about for StarCraft 1.
Oh, for StarCraft 1.
Like we're talking about like the OSL and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's been interesting for sure to see him play Protoss here, but yeah, that was the way it was in the past, and it seems like they've lightened up that rule now.
All right, Stalker finishing up just in time to make sure this Reaper does not connect with the probes there in the main base. This game number 3 really starting to come online between these two. It's a similar opening here for Cure in game number 3. He's opting for at least one Reaper. I think that might be the second Reaper on the map. Yeah, in fact it is. And we have some Hellions in production. Now, Cure went for this setup in game number 2, but he didn't actually go for the early dive. I think partly because he was scouted by the Adepts. But in game number 3 here, he has not yet been scouted. Besides these two Reapers, which I guess, yeah, it does kind of telegraph what this is going to be. Yeah. In any case, I'm curious whether Cure is going to try and dive right now with 2 Hellions, or with 2 Reapers and a Hellion, or perhaps with one more round of factory production. It seems like he's going to go for it.
He's going to fly in here, and he wants to kill off these workers pretty quick. The battery's doing some serious work. Oh! Okay, he hits that one Reaper in the back. No probe kills yet. A Stalker's up here. Look at this, one probe on each. I love seeing little micro tricks like this because it really shows you like how the game works, where he said one probe on each attacking unit. This has done nothing. Which, by the way, that's hard to even believe because, you know, when you kamikaze units and you usually get like 2 probes, 3 probes minimum. That did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think it was just 1 probe in total, which is a horrible trade here for Cure. And you know, it's kind of cool to see this play out, by the way, because I always see Clem and also Max Pax as players who throw down the shield battery, the natural expansion, so quickly. It's like the probe gets done scouting the Terran base, and then they come back home and they throw down a shield battery before they go into the main base and wait for the first Stalker to be done, or Adept, or whatever it is. And I was just like, why do you get it that early? Like, this is an awkward time to deal with any push. I guess it's if you go up against 2 Reapers and 1 Hellion, you're able to defend it completely perfectly like that. So
you just know there's like, it's not that good, but there is this weird timing. And if they're going to hit you, you got to be ready.
That's very cool. Now Cure opting to go for the Widowmine drop right here.
Kind of messed that up.
That's a lot of damage on that Widowmine.
Yep. Now he's going to throw this one over here. Clem pretty perfectly just, ooh. Does 1 worker kill there. Manages to clip a little bit of HP off of the medevac.
Yeah, and losing the probe is basically just the tax to deal with that dropship play, you know? You can't get around losing that early worker here. So in total, it's 3 workers that fall here for Clem, but it's been so much early factory production for Cure. 2 Widowmines, a Hellion, 2 Reapers out of the barracks as well. But the army here for Cure isn't that great. And if we have a Warp Prism move cross-map with this army, which I think it's just Blink Stalkers and Observer right now, there would be some potential to get damage done. Instead, Clem just going to be opting to go for something like a soft contain here, so you can shave off a couple of Marines.
Sorry, where is that tank?
I think it's at the main base.
Oh, okay. It must have been from the high ground. Yeah, I was looking at the natural. I was like, I don't see it. Not bad here from Cure. He does get 3 probe kills. And, you know, once more, we don't have the 3rd command center. So there's a lot of similar ideas here. Clem getting his Stalkers bruised. Don't forget that he lost game 1 because he basically had a lot of stray siege tanks hit that kept being absorbed by Stalkers. And we have the push coming now. I don't see SCVs. He may be trying to fake them out into being ready for a push a little bit sooner than you would expect. But we don't have an SCV pull. Now, he might not do an SCV pull as well, by the way. That's also possible. Cure with a total dive up here does take out 2 workers. The Stalker's going to go for the medevac here. He should be able to get the kill. Yeah.
Medevac gets taken out. There is no SCV pull with this army, but Cure is in firing range now of this 3rd Nexus. First Colossus about 1/3 of the way done. No thermal lance being researched by Clem right now. He knows that he needs to commit all of his resources just to defending this. And if Cure can just take out this 3rd base and then pull away, this might be perfect for him. That Nexus is low on HP. Clem has to go right now, and now Clem is charging in. Cure just focus fires down the Nexus. He wants to confirm the kill. That's going to mean the army trade is sizably in Clem's advantage.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you do that. It looks good, but sometimes this turns out to be the worst of all possible moves because they will just have a way bigger army when your next attack comes out. So even though you think, okay, I killed that, he's not getting the minerals from there, the reality is you're on 2 bases, he's on 2 bases now. and you sacrificed a huge chunk of your army to kill something. Now, Clem, unsurprisingly, goes for a counter poke here. There is a third CC being made up here in the front.
Third command center nearly done. Combat shields, I think even stim, and infantry weapons all finishing up right around this timing. And Kira's going to try and play, or at least he's gearing up to play, something like a macro game behind this. With the third command center finishing up, I wonder what position he's in objectively, because it's kind of hard to parse exactly how this is played out. The early harassment for Kira was not very advantageous for him. The Raven was able to pick up some considerable damage with 2 auto turrets that's dropped down in total so far in the natural expansion of Clem. But that was an expensive army trade.
Yeah, and this third base can be poked. Now we're going to have, oh, I love the Widow Mine drop. He's going to put it on the high ground. I think our observer's missing it, but over at the third, well, you're just going to have to believe me, chat. All right, so he does take out 4 probes over there.
It's a nice move by Kira. Just causing a little bit of trouble right now here for Clem. And Clem actually is still parked outside. Clem is still parked outside the third base of Kira. And Kira is maneuvering his entire army to snipe more bases.
Okay, but this third base right now for Clem is totally undefended. He can lose this. I mean, he needs to cancel and lift. Now this is going to be hitting the third Nexus. Oh my God, is it going to go?
Is this going to be a base trade?
I think it is.
Zealot's charging in right now. Missile turret actually getting good damage done. The Colossus halfway across the map. Both of them lose their shields to the turret. The third base of Clem is going to fall. Kira could either isolate the fourth base or go into the natural expansion right now. The army of Clem cross map, not very impressive, Tasteless.
Yeah, I think Kira has a little bit more firepower here. He's going to be able to hit the Robo and unpower it so the Colossus can't come out here and meet this. I think we need a recall here from Clem.
Maybe, I think a recall, you can't recall to the natural expansion. Instead, he's going to recall to the third base because you can't get on top of this Terran army like this. And that's just it. Kira going to take this series over Clem with a 2-1 win. Man, Kira is so good.
He's just on top of it, man. Again, he really seems to understand this matchup. Interesting to see him not pull SCVs with that attack, but kind of know I've slowed him down enough. And also to know, like, just let him get my third base, it's fine. Even to, like, send all his SCVs in the main, he just seems to understand that matchup really, really well.
Yeah, Kira seems to be maybe the best TVP player in Korea right now, even with Maru. It just feels like he has such a good read on how to play a different build if you're going for an early aim attack over the course of a best-of-3 series. I mean, we saw basically 3 variants of siege tank pushes, and they worked to varying degrees, but it was enough of a poker game that I think Clem really struggled to get a grasp of exactly what kind of game he was playing in each individual map.
Yeah, each attack was really different and required the Protoss to defend in a different way, right? SCV pulls, and then you had just like a couple of harasses into like auto turrets, into then just like a push with no medevacs. Anyways, guys, we're going to have a short break. When we come back, Hero versus Cure.
but you're longing for a little change. A bit of something different in a different place. Somewhere the grass is greener. Call it a spiritual healer. I hear you, darling, I feel ya. Me and you, there's nothing we can't do together. Come on, let's go fly away. Find a beautiful escape. With the wind on our backs, we'll be going so fast. There's no need to be afraid. Come on, let's go fly away now.
GSL Season 2.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for the winner's match. One of these two players is going to move on to the offline finals day here for the round of 4.
Yeah, will it be Hero, the reigning champion of last season of GSL? Or will it be Cure, who's played some really good TVP games, not just now versus Clem, but over the course of this entire GSL, over the course of the last GSL. Cure has been looking so good, and one question that I have going into this series, Tasteless, is whether Cure is going to be playing the same early aggressive styles in TVP here versus Hero, or if he's going to change things up and go for something a little bit more macro or exhaust play focused.
I think he might go more macro exhaust play, and that might just be because Hero is going to bring the game to that point in time. But it's hard to say. You know, Cure has really two extremely different approaches to this, right? He's going to play the end game, base trade, mass marauder push that basically fights exhaust play, or he does like these crazy 2-base timings, sometimes pulling SCVs, sometimes going for lots of harass, and trying to basically punch enough holes in the Terran that they're bleeding too much and they fall over. But either one of these two players could take it for sure here. The lighting in Hero's room really bothers me. It's like the whole room is lit except for his face.
Yeah, that is kind of odd,
like,
isn't it?
Is there not like a light? I mean, aren't you, like,
you can tell he's not a streamer.
Yeah.
There's no ring light set up. There's no light
stream,
balance
right?
for this. I'm sure that he streams occasionally, but
number of pros stream without webcams too. Don't get me started with that.
I used to be one of those guys.
Oh, I could. Yeah,
not
I know.
anymore. Not anymore.
anymore.
I've come to the light, but
I've seen it. No webcam, no mic.
It's just like the hoodie thing. Horses with blinders, dude. You
I
gotta
get
lock
it.
in on the game.
I get it.
Anyway, folks, first map loading in now between Hero and Cure in this winner's match. It's going to be Ruby Rock, Hero spawning in the bottom right, the blue Protoss, here, the red Terran in the top left, and Hero going for a quick probe scout, but he's doing it on the back of a pylon throw here down in the natural expansion.
Yeah. So Cure sending that probe across the map here. And, I'm sorry, Hero sending that probe across the map here. What am I saying? Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game between these two, and I'm totally fine with either one of these guys moving off. They both played amazingly this year, as well as last year. I feel like Cure is getting to this whole new level. Like, he just looks so strong. Sometimes I feel like he is better than Maru, which is crazy to say, right? But I will say, some of these games lately, he just seems to really have an understanding of what Terran can do, how to, in some of these pretty complicated games, just push the game to an endpoint really fast. Remember, this was all off the back of Terrans basically not being able to kill Protosses no matter what. That was a big storyline in 2025.
Yeah, especially back when we had battery overcharge,
right?
Which was always just the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm so glad they removed it from the game. I hate these stupid abilities that sometimes can get cast, or like the mothership core.
Right.
All these things drive me crazy. But
ooh, proxy pylon. That's a super close proxy pylon.
Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder if the gateway being down here, the natural expansion. Originally, I thought this was just a defensive setup. Like Hero was trying to preempt, say, any kind of Hellion and Reaper play early on with a quick wall in. But now I'm thinking it's almost like a Makarax. It's like it's proxied. Okay, it's not trying to be hidden from Terran, but it's significantly closer to the natural expansion of Terran. It will shave a couple of seconds off.
Is it going to be Stargate or Robo?
I think it's going to be a Robo just because we have only 100 gas, but no Robo just yet. Will it be a Stargate? It will. It actually cancels Wargate to make it happen.
Yeah, Stargate. So is this going to be a Void Ray?
I feel like it's gotta be. I mean, the Oracle takes 3 shots to take down a Marine or an SCV. I mean, maybe this is going to come online fast enough that the Oracle doesn't care if it's 2 shots or 3 shots.
Maybe you want to just have 2 or I don't know. I think Void Ray.
I can see it being either.
Keep in mind that because add-ons are always on the right side of Terran buildings, Void Rays can actually be really disruptive to taking out add-ons here too. Not that that's like why you do this, but that could be an element that's like, you know, of these positions that's attractive.
And this is the worst case scenario. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, it's a Cyclone here for Cure. So
yeah,
Hero might have looked at the games that Cure just played versus Clem, where Cure just brazenly went for the Siege Tank first every single time once the Tech Lab was done. But Cure is shifting to a bit more of a safe style here versus Hero, opting for the Cyclone first. And this could very well just shut down the Oracle harassment if Hero goes and sends the first Oracle immediately. If Hero waits for 2 Oracles, he might actually be able to pull enough damage that he can just immediately snipe the Cyclone. And that's what Hero's doing.
Yeah, well, he saw the Cyclone. He went, okay, not yet. You're going to get the Adepts to come out here into the front. Now, this makes it a lot more interesting because Marines are going to be inbound. You know, that's a lot of units that could have fought Oracles. Adepts are already on the other side of the map, so there's a lot of damage both sides could take. He's going to make a Phoenix after that, probably to catch Medivacs. And is he going to pair the Oracles with the Adepts? Oh my god.
Yes, he is. He gets on top of the Cyclone there with 1 volley. No repair coming into the Cyclone just yet. The Oracles are able to TPS it down, and every Marine is sniped. There's now a drop of Marines in the main base of Hero, but we do have a shield battery in position to defend against that. Warp gate is done. 2 Stalkers warping in. SCV is getting melted by these Oracles.
I mean, the probes are fighting back, but not that many have died. The Shades are going to finish up here into the main. The drop's going to move over to the natural. The Phoenix is doing a lot of damage to this Medivac. The probe count is kill count, excuse me, is starting to stack up. Hero was maybe a little bit preoccupied and is not going to have those Adepts doing too much more damage.
Pure down to 21 SCVs as the Oracles come back and watch the Marines get mopped up in the main base of Hero. These Adepts are still alive, by the way. They only stopped getting SCV kills because there are no SCVs left in the main base.
But he can attack out here again.
Yeah, he could use this. He could lift up the Cyclone with
GG,
the Phoenix and just dive. Oh, that was a dirty build.
I love that.
I'm going to do that on the ladder, Tasteless.
Well, let me tell you something. The ladder's been ruined for a couple of days for Terra players. You know, I wonder what happens if he doesn't drop. It is so annoying when you have one of these builds. It's like, it's kind of, I guess, well-rounded and safe. But you're like, all right, well, now we're going to drop and see what we can do. And it's like, oh, I'm doing a crazy timing attack, and you don't have your army here. The combination of Oracles just blasting down SCVs, and then the Adepts, which already kill SCVs pretty fast, especially any damaged SCVs, that was crazy. We're moving on to 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet.
That's way too
More
few
like
feet.
1,000,000 feet, State. That's
we
where we're
need
going.
so many more feet than 1,000 feet, Tasteless.
Sorry, guys. We need at least 10 times more. Hero versus Cure continuing on here. Cure looking a little miffed after that last loss. I mean, not so much a build order counter, but a situational counter, right? I mean, if you really don't have 7 Marines inside your base, when the Oracle Adepts hit, and you didn't get the repair on the Cyclone, yeah, you're going to be playing a glass Terran style. You're going to get broken and shattered pretty quick. So we're going to go into map 2 here and see again who's going to be the winner, who's going to be moving on into the round of 4. Both these guys have been hungry. It's season 2 of GSL. Again, if you advance here, you're going to the offline event.
The offline finals on June 7th. Just
6-7, dude. 6-7, yes, come on, man.
I refuse.
You thought 420
I've heard Gemini
and
say
69
6-7
were
so
cool?
many times. It's
6-7's what's
driving
cool now.
me insane. I can't tolerate this anymore, Tasteless.
All right, so immediately we have game 2 upon us here. Cure probably hoping to get a game where he's not going to be completely blindsided by something here from Hero. By the way, that is scoutable. You know, you can just check the perimeter of your base and go, oh, Stargate, now I'm never going to lose to this. But I think Hero had a good sense that maybe Cure, in a lot of these like pretty fine-tuned builds, he doesn't send SCVs all over the map to check for stuff. He kind of plays a certain way and just prepares for what is probably going to be Protoss either, you know, playing like Clem which is like a little bit aggro, but not crazy, not proxies, not all-ins, stuff like that, or playing like Classic, where you're just going to try to take the whole map. And I think Hero identified the weakness there and said, well, why don't we just actually proxy your own build and just kind of, you know, throw a wrench in your gears.
No probe scout by Hero. At least in the early game here, by the way, as he's going for a blind 20 Nexus. No probe scout means it's going to come online a little bit faster than it normally would.
Yeah. Very different from game one.
And a Zealot and a Core first before the Nexus even. So he's actually delaying the expansion and getting a little bit of aggressive potential here early on. I wonder if this is partly because Cure has been so aggressive in previous TVPs on 10,000 feet. This is the map where you often see the proxy barracks, factory, and starport, and a siege tank push into the main base of Protoss. And so that's got to be at least a little bit on Hero's mind.
Yeah. We have the Reapers coming down, which usually means we're going to have Hellions with that. Those guys pair together pretty nicely later on in the game. The Tech Lab actually coming along here, so maybe not.
A very early Tech Lab here for Cure.
Yeah,
no command center just yet.
Yeah. Now with the Zealot here. Oh, there it is. CC is going to land, start. Which means we'll probably, well, I guess I can't say that I know we'll have a starport or not. You know, Cure has gone for a lot of these kind of locked-in techs here. Like, you know, in one of the other games, he went for like 2 more barracks after this. Oh, he is going to go for the Cyclone, so that's what the Tech Lab's purpose is. Kind of a the Swiss Army knife unit of early game TVP, kind of able to fight anything. Able to chase away warp prisms, able to, you know, deal with adepts, or, you know, you can deal with a starport here as well.
Dark Shrine gets thrown down by Hero.
Wow.
Okay.
There's no pylons on the map, right? Okay.
I think he's just now sending the probe here to the top right side. Yeah, that is indeed a probe. So probably going to be a proxy gateway here. The 12 o'clock expansion.
You know, DTs, when you have these builds like what Cure's doing, sometimes they do skimp on detection.
Yeah, although it's odd to do this. I guess Hero didn't go for an early probe scout. It's surprising. It would have been surprising to me if Hero opted to do this on the back of the scout, because you would have seen that Cure is going for double gas. And I feel like with double gas, you almost always go for the Raven, just to get an auto-turret harassment down on the Protoss side of the map. But again, that Raven, should Cure decide to go for a Raven after this, it will likely be heading cross-map for harassment. So how much detection do we actually have here for Terran? The Dark Shrine is nearly done. I see 1 scan banked in the main base right now. We have no missile turrets. I don't even know if there's an engineering bay on the field. I think there isn't. But the second orbital command finishing up, will we have mules get dropped here for Cure? Because 2 DTs are being warped in. It will take 2 scans to actually get both of these if Hero splits them properly.
So I think one of the issues with a build like this from Cure has probably got this so fine-tuned to just get maximum stuff out here.
Spots the gateway.
So he can start to bank. The DTs are going to come through. He needs to get 1 up into the main. You can one-shot Marines. That's totally acceptable. He's going to go for the depot. SCV's been pulled. He's going to move this back. I think he's realized it's probably better to just go for Marines and just kill stuff there.
Cure has no scans banked. This is the main orbital we have selected right now. Only 41 energy. I think the natural expansion is even lower.
He's going to split this here.
Honestly, good handling so far by Cure, just kind of running around with everything.
Honestly.
Oh, that's not the move. That is not the move.
That was crazy. Yeah, not enough surface area there to surround that.
I think even with a mineral walk, it's really hard if it's between both those minerals in the center. And wait, the DTs, they pull back. They become an Archon. Is charge done here? This is slow Zealots and an Archon pushing it. No, charge is finished. Okay. Archon going to try and get the connection right now on top of the Marines. Zealots able to focus down 1 of the siege tanks. Can they get the second? I think Repair going to be just powerful enough here for Cure. Oh, it does fall.
He pops that. But, okay, he's also going to take out the Widow Mine there. That's crazy. I don't know. I guess it's fine for Hero. He's still just on 2 bases, right? So there's no 3rd base out here yet. The Zealots didn't quite seem to be high enough in number to kind of overwhelm the position. It seems like Cure sort of just has enough. obviously, when you use DTs the first time, they're never as effective later on, unless you get like a crazy macro game where you can maybe just like hit, fourth bases and fifth base. Maybe they're not going to be able to keep track of stuff. So he sends a very cautious Cyclone out here to kill the pylon off. And, the observer is going to come through here and see exactly what kind of game Cure wants to play. It's going to be another two-base Terran, hungry to end the game before Protoss can get to a deeper level of attack.
Yeah, and thinking back to the Charge Zealot push that Hero went for at Cure's natural expansion, it didn't get too much done, but it did reset the siege tank count for Cure. And Cure has been hinging so much of his success in this matchup, at least in the series versus Clem earlier on siege tank pushes, that I think it was a worthwhile trade here for Hero. Hero is now setting up to take a third base, although he's doing it in about as conservative a manner as you possibly can. He's powering up with 5 more gateways and going into Colossus before getting the third. Oh no, the Tech Lab is so low on HP. Hero able to snipe Stim.
That's insane.
That's
Stim,
huge.
The most important ability to have. However, it's been a very odd game here for Hero. Does he actually have enough to hold this back at home? The SCVs and Marines might be enough alone.
I guess without combat shields, not having Stim isn't the end of the world right here for Cure. Colossus is going to try and find some damage. Siege tanks get set up. Link forward there by Hero. He's able to snipe one of the siege tanks, but the siege tanks get a huge volley off on that Colossus. The Colossus is so low on HP now.
It's low. The tank is kind of stuck out here. Not able to get much further along in the push. I think that Cure might have enough, though, man. This is a lot. Again, there's no Stim, which means that they pack a lot less of a punch. The Immortal's going to come in here and punch out the tank. And Hero's just playing the waiting game. 19 SCVs were killed in this. The Stalkers are in between the push, which is exactly what you want to be doing to hold something off like this. 2 Colossi here. Tank shots continuing to hit them, but it doesn't matter because they've got the sustain. GG. Hero wins and is going to be the first of 4 players moving on to the offline portion of Season 2 of the GSL.
Wow, Hero just speeding through this series versus Cure. Honestly, a tremendous hold there at the natural expansion of Hero with just really 2 Colossus left over. The fact that Hero was able to take out all of the siege tanks, he sacrificed so much of his army to snipe those tanks, but because he took them out, there isn't any huge burst damage for Cure to actually deal with a Colossus, and then it doesn't matter how many unupgraded, unstimmed Marines that you've got there as Cure. The Colossus, they're going to melt everything.
Yeah, I mean, that was really well done, honestly. I'm really impressed with how Hero handled that. 2 very specific types of play out of both of those games, things we probably won't see again this season. We're talking a proxied Stargate, in game 1. And then in game 2, it was like a surprise DT into like an Archon Zealot charge bust.
Yeah, just to clean up the siege tanks, it almost felt like. You know, that was such a priority there for Hero.
And the tank count was very low when the actual push came. And I think most of all, obviously, getting the Stim is insane.
But
That's massive.
Even with Stim, if there's no combat shields, I mean, the Colossus being out on the map, do you even really want to Stim into that? But you can see
he delays Stim as long as possible, so he has it right before the attack hits. It's just supposed to be enough. It's like a tipping point fight. He just has enough to kind of overpower him and win. Anyways, we're going to go to an interview now and see how Hero is feeling.
Well, Hero, congratulations on your victory. The first question I want to ask you is about game number 1 versus Cure. You went for a proxy Stargate with 2 Oracles and 3 Adepts. Can you just talk to me a little bit about that build? Were you trying to snipe something of Cure, or do you feel like this is good against a lot of different Terran openings?
일단 김주도 선수 4강 진출 축하드리고요. 일단 첫 번째 질문 드릴 거는 김덕 선수와의 1세트 경기에서 이제 전직 우관을 하시면서 예언자를 2기를 모으고 이제 3, 4도로 이제 그런 러쉬를 가는 플레이를 선택을 하셨단 말이에요. 이런 플레이가 좀 의도된 것인지, 좀 어떤 김덕 선수의 플레이를 좀 저격하려고 했던 것인지 좀 궁금하네요.
일단 도우기가 이런 큰 경기에 앞서서 준비를 굉장히 잘하는 스타일이고 점추가 일반화돼 있기 때문에 그것을 잘 노리고 올 거라고 생각했고, 그 부분을 좀 디테일하게 들어가자면 프로브로 이제 사이클론을 보게 되면, 아니면 혹은 사도로 보게 되면 투 예언자를 모아뛰려고 했었는데 그게 주요했던 것 같습니다.
Yeah, in these important matches, Cure actually prepares a lot. So that being said, he actually tries to prepare my Blink Stalker build, so I try to counter his moves to counter my Blink Stalkers. So yeah, so going to the details. I think if either my probe or the adept sees the initial cyclone, then I would just not send off my first oracle and just send off with 2 or 3 oracles and then push through. So I think that initial thoughts and the details work through well.
Congratulations again on advancing. What are your goals for this season of GSL?
네, 일단 진출 축하드리고 다음 질문은 이제 이번 시즌의 또 목표는 또 어디일지 궁금합니다.
일단 이번 시즌도 저번 시즌과 동일하게 4강이 목표였거든요. 오프라인 무대 저번에 했었을 때 굉장히 짜릿했고 살아있음을 느꼈기 때문에 또 오프라인을 가고 싶다 생각했는데 이렇게 1등으로 기세 이어가지고 갈 수 있어서 굉장히 기쁩니다.
Yeah, my initial goals was same as last season. Just just get through the online and just go to the studio games. So yeah, after I went through the semifinals and finals, that's that last day. Actually, I felt alive with a lot of crowds playing in the live audiences. It actually made me feel much more confident and much more alive. So yeah, I'm glad that I get to feel that once more.
Congratulations on advancing to the round of 4. Best of luck to you.
네, 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Very cool to see how well Hero's playing here. I mean, he has got. It's like a chef that makes you give him just the right ingredients and he makes the perfect food every time.
It's Michelin 3-star, man.
It's Iron Chef.
Iron
what it
Chef.
Is. They're like, this time you can only use proxied oracles, and he starts cooking it up. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, Classic versus Clem is going to be our next match.
I know that you're longing for a little change, a bit of something different in a different place. Somewhere the grass is greener. Call it a spiritual healer. I hear you, darling, I feel ya. Me and you, there's nothing we can't do together. Come on, let's go fly away. Find a beautiful escape. With the wind on our backs, we'll be going so fast. There's no need to be afraid. Come on, let's go fly away now. Come on, let's go fly away. I never feel lost even in the unknown. 'Cause when I'm with you, yeah, it feels like home. Feels like home. Me and you, there's nothing we can do together. Come on, let's go fly away. Find a beautiful escape. With the wind on our backs, we'll be going so fast. There's no need to be afraid.
GSL Season 2.
We're back. It's time to eliminate one of these players.
Yes, Jaceless, the first player going to be eliminated here in a round of 8, Classic or Clem. And this is just it's ridiculous. This is an elimination match of the GSL, even in the round of 8. Classic versus Clem, are you kidding me? One of the best Protoss players of all time versus one of the best Terran players of all time. This is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know exactly how this series is going to shape out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Classic has played a much more withdrawn style. I mean, again, this was kind of the big narrative. The big matchup last year was PVT and the controversy around it. And like, can Terrans beat Protosses, or Protosses just broken? To which Reddit went, yes. But we don't know if that's the case right now. We don't know. I mean, the reality is like, can Classic kind of still try to take the whole map? Can he play Hungry Hungry Hippos and just gobble up all the marbles on the map?
All the bases, all
just
the
keep
minerals.
hitting the button and it takes all the bases. Or is it going to be a game, you know, where Clem can have some sharp attacks and get in there and do the damage? By the way, Clem seems to have like the best understanding of this matchup in general right now. He does look different than the way the Koreans play it on both sides. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I wonder exactly what it's going to look like, because if we played this series a couple of patches ago, I think I would give Classic the edge just because Protoss was so defensively masterful. But now I think in the current map pool, Terran has a lot more options, especially in the early game, to actually get damage done. You know, removing shield battery, I know it's been a long time now, but removing the overcharge on that has been huge. And I guess that was when I was casting most of my games between Classic and Clem, was back in that era of StarCraft 2. So I'm wondering now, in modern PvT, what this will what form this will take, because typically in TVP, at least played in Korea, as explored by Cure over the course of this GSL and the previous GSL season, Terrans, they have to win in either the early game or in the late game. The mid game, unless you get some huge early advantage, it's going to be heavily Protoss favored. But Clem is the best multitasking in the world.
Yeah, he also really knows how to kind of bleed the Protoss out. So I'm not sure. Keep in mind as well, I mean, it's funny. Yeah, this is the first time we're going to see Clem playing Terran now.
Yeah.
Today. And at this point in time, I'm almost like, I can feel my mind like morphing into believing that Clem is a Protoss player, even though really he is a Terran main. But yeah, let's see what ideas he's got here. He had some great games in 2025 as well, looking very strong. And of course, Classic's going to be really hungry to win here, because Classic, after having a great run last year, is in a lot more of a challenging spot.
Yeah, after we wrapped GSL in 2025, it was some months before we came back here for 2026, and there were a lot of online tournaments and a couple offline tournaments in that span. Classic did have very good results, but nowhere near the results that he was having when he was at his peak performance in the previous patches. And so I think that Classic might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder right now coming into this GSL, especially after losing the first series to Hero. He doesn't want to be eliminated in the round of 8. He wants to go back to the round of 4. That is basically where his class is, so this is going to be a very up and down matchup, I think, between these two.
Yeah, honestly, I want Clem to win here. I want Clem. Sorry, Classic. Sorry, Cure. It would just be so hyped to have a foreigner here in the offline finals for GSL. We don't have a lot of offline anything right now for StarCraft 2. And man, would it be hyped to have something that had that kind of international flavor.
It really would. I mean, honestly, I can imagine a lot of European fans staying up late to watch the GSL live instead of watching the VODs on YouTube to pick that up. Because
that's right.
Getting a player like Clem in the round of 4 offline finals, seeing him on the stage, seeing if we're finally going to have a foreign champion in the GSL would be huge, because non-Korean players have been playing in the GSL for the majority of the GSL. Most years, somebody is trying to do it, and no one's ever been able to.
It's been one of the unbroken rules of GSL. And we started out where we had, like we were talking about this earlier today, Jinro getting top 4.
Mm-hmm. Artosis made a Code S.
Artosis made a Code S. I remember that because I was solo casting while he was busy getting his ass whooped. I remember thinking, I'm doing a little bit too much extra work today. But we had all these foreigners that showed up that competed, Hydra. We're going all back to all the OGs. Then, and Blizzard changed the whole format where, there was suddenly, Koreans that were now in the NA division or the EU division. That was maybe like one of the weirdest, most poorly organized moments in StarCraft. And then eventually that got phased out, right? But then it was kind of Korea doing Korea stuff, right? Occasionally we'd have a foreigner out here competing, like Scarlet, more recently Raynor. But none of those players, No Regret, another example, none of those players ever won a GSL, which is kind of crazy because there's been a lot of GSLs.
Yeah, I think the closest that anybody gone after Jinro was Neeb. I can't remember if Neeb got a round of 4. I think that he might have gotten, he might have even won a super tournament or something.
No, he won something Spo was doing, and now I can't.
Was it not a super tournament? There have been so many GSLs and so many GSL events.
It's
possible.
I don't know if we really count that.
No, that's not a Code S title.
Yeah,
it's
totally
it's
a little bit
It's a weekend
different
tournament. But we've never had a foreign champion, is I guess.
Yeah. For what, like what we're doing now, or when this tournament was a little bit bigger, we never had a foreigner win that. And it's kind of crazy because in my head I thought, well, this is just eventually going to happen, right? And by the way, foreigners have dominated in StarCraft 2 now, just not in this tournament. And obviously, this is a very Korean-heavy tournament. It's in Korea. A good amount of it's been offline, right? So you'd have to be here. And by the way, you have to be here for a while to compete in Code S. This is
It's always been that way.
It's in what I call an episodic tournament, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like 4 days and a lot of matches, and then we're done. We pack it up and we go to the next tournament. That's been another thing that's been in the way. But even then, special competing in multiple GSS. A lot of these fantastic foreigners were not able to do it. So, for me personally, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is just to see a foreigner play, and maybe Clem wins it, maybe not, but I don't know. It would be pretty hype.
Yeah, and to talk a little bit more about the GSL, it is kind of the silver lining, I suppose, to having the majority of the tournament now being an online tournament, is just the fact that we actually can have a player like Clem participating in the round of 12 and the round of 8. I mean, obviously, it would be perfect to have a live audience and be able to play in the stage in the big arena, but in the current state of StarCraft 2, and just not the way it is. We have to have the offline finals and accept that, but to have Clem here now in the round of 8, who knows? He might not, because of the GSL formerly being so episodic and being purely played offline. He might have never had the chance unless he decided to come out to Korea and live here again. So now it's going to be Clem trying for a Hail Mary here versus Classic. He has to defeat both Classic and Cure to advance into the round of 4 offline finals.
Our boy is changing the, wait a minute, in Europe? AC? All right, now we're talking. So much of Europe, no AC state. Did you know that?
Clem's a gamer, man. You can't be... Look at Gumiho, dude. He's got the towel on his hand. He's trying to keep that mouse dry. Clem can't be trying to stutter step Marines with his slippery, greasy hand.
You can't have that. You can't have it. Now, Classic going with the fan in the background, possibly comboed with the aircon as well.
I guarantee it is. Every Korean apartment's got air conditioning.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than... I don't know how anybody does it without air conditioning.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't survive in Korea without air conditioning. And by the way, this is how you know the summer is finally here, is when we had Hero and Classic at the first match. The webcam comes on and both of them have this gigantic fan behind their chair.
Yeah, just a giant window unit.
I don't think we ever had that in the GSL Season 1 or Season 2 up until this point. There haven't been very many fans, but it's getting toasty here in Korea.
No, we have the fans set up in my house, too. This is also, you know that like the real summer's here when people start getting sick because they turn their air conditioning on really high and then fall asleep and they end up getting too cold.
This will 100% be me. If I miss days in the GSL or the RSL, this is why it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, this is, it's happened, not every year, but it definitely happens to me where like I take a nap and it's like just steaming hot in my house. And then I, take a nap and I wake up feverish.
I have not been able, I cannot sleep unless it is cool in my apartment. It needs to be like ideally 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. Like,
well, generally they say that your room should be cold, but your body should be warm. Like you should be in a warm blanket or some warm jammies you're wearing.
Warm blanket's the way to do it.
Yeah, warm blanket, covered up. It's been proven.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that, actually. That was just the way that I slept.
If you can't fall asleep, first of all, make the room cool. Second of all, make yourself kind of warm.
If it's above 20 degrees Celsius, I have such a hard time falling asleep. I know that sounds insane, but like it has to be cool in my room.
No, the room has to be cold, in my opinion. It can be too cold though. There is issues with that too. But I find it okay. Like if it's winter time, I'll have my jammies on. I got a whole bunch of different jammies. I'm doing a whole jammy game now. Okay. I was anti-jammy for a long time, and I kind of changed this year. And part of it is just like, it's nice when it's just winter cold, and I got some of my warm blanket, but I got some nice warm jammies.
Okay.
And it feels nice. That's better than being naked under the covers.
All right.
Because sometimes I gotta throw a leg out. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit.
Gotta throw a leg out.
I throw a leg out. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this part of my body is gonna be. Yeah, because I put a leg out to cool off, but sometimes that leg gets too cold.
That's really the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks. The pause is over. Game number 1 between Classic and Clem. Loading up.
Just taking the length of a game to get this game going. All right. So we have yet another PVT here. This time, remember, Clem is the Terran. Classic now, the Protoss here. Clem doing the whole entirety of PVT today.
And a cheeky little 2-gas opening coming in here for Clem. So it's going to be a pretty fast tech up for our Terran player. And I wonder what form this will take in the early game in terms of trying to control the economy here of Protoss. Cure earlier on in his series, I think most of them were 2-gas, although game 1 might have been a 1-gas opening. It's all getting a little bit fuzzy now with the PVTs we've been casting. He transposed from that into Siege Tank Push basically every single time, but he got there in different ways. Sometimes he would go for Riddle Mine harassment, sometimes Ravens, sometimes a mix of both. In a couple of games, he also mixed in the Reaper and the Hellion harassment, whether it be at the natural expansion or in the third base. There are a lot of different tools in the belt here for Terran to try and just throw a wrench into the works of the Protoss economy. And I feel like, similar to PVZ, a lot of it comes down to whether the Terran can actually successfully disrupt the economy from Protoss. Because if Classic is able to parry whatever it is that Clem throws out with his 2-gas opening, Classic is gonna be in a really good spot to try and hold whatever the eventual push or pressure from Clem will be.
So this probe has gone all the way down into the bottom here. And Classic's just gonna lurk down there. He'll come up here and he'll see with the timing of this. Oh, he does. I think you can see the factory if you go up. Maybe not.
If you perfectly get it in the nook between the supply depot and the barracks, you might be able to spot it.
Wow, you know, the placement actually for Clem is literally like perfect. I don't know that the Protoss got any extra information there. Which, by the way, I think everybody should be playing like this. Like sometimes I just see these games where they run up the ramp and I'm like, yeah, don't show them that. Just know the exact vision distance that the probe has and they'll never get any extra information. Even if what you're doing is predictable, you're still making them guess. Sometimes people will like just see a certain amount and kind of play very deterministically. Or assume, okay, I didn't see anything there. He really is doing something weird. Like, I didn't at least see a factory, a starport, or a command center, right? But yeah, we've had a lot of games where it's not like that. All right, he's going to fire down at this Reaper.
Yeah, Classic with a couple of early stalkers trying to wrest map control back from this Reaper. Classic is going into Blink. No second gateway and no Robo just yet here for Classic. Only just now is he throwing down the second Robo. And I believe also the Robo Bay here at the natural wall in. So very exposed. Should Clem decide to go into some kind of push later on, it will certainly be a threat. And Clem's going to spot that right now with this Reaper coming into the natural.
Okay, Reaper's going to come up here now. By the way, the fourth gate's going to come down.
A third gate, I think.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I don't think we have a fast
I'm sorry. Okay,
gateway.
it's a 3 gate.
No, it's odd because the second gateway was kind of delayed, it seemed like, for Classic in this one.
So he's moving up here now. How prepared is Classic for this? Just one stalker, the other one's recall back. And he's going to get, at least, what, 20% damage onto that medevac? Not bad. Terran never even got to fire a shot into the workers.
Yeah, well handled there by Classic, but it did force a recall. And oh, now Clem able to isolate these stalkers on the low ground. Classic focused on dealing with the Reaper in the main base. Will lose at least one stalker. The second is now on the run. Blink still maybe 30 seconds away, so I think the Cyclone, yeah, it will be able to chase this down. It'll catch a brief respite here in the line of sight blocker, but I mean, the Cyclone's got to have this.
Okay, finally kills that off, picks up, and goes back home. So Classic going for a Warp Prism, going for a third Nexus.
Blink is done. If Classic tries, he might be able to get a little bit more damage done on this, but no, he's going to the natural expansion instead.
Okay, now an auto turret's going to come in here. So, Clem is getting his jabs in right now.
This is a very good early game for Clem. He's already been able to take down 2 stalkers, a couple of probes fall as well. Get a third stalker here if he's lucky. The siege tank count is already getting quite high. We have 2 siege tanks done already. The third is about to finish up. Classic on his side of the map, adding in the third base, going for a very fast robotics bay. So this is telling us that Classic wants to hold the first move out from Clem, the first significant move out from Clem with Colossi. But looking at the infrastructure here for Clem, I think he might be able to move out either right before that Colossus is done or while it is still in production. That's a very fragile time for Protoss, especially with a robotics facility so far in the front of the natural expansion.
Oh my god, this Warp Prism's still taking damage. Somehow the Cyclone's still in the game. He's going to go ahead and repair that.
If all the Marines go down to the natural expansion, Classic could actually... he could have actually gone on top of this with those 4 stalkers, but of course Classic does not know.
Meanwhile, we've got that Colossus tech coming along here. And Classic just goes with the recall. I think that's the right move. Here comes the push. Very similar ideas to what Kier did. No SCV pulls. Stim, this actually might be a little bit mistimed. I think he's going to end up in an engagement right before Stim's done. The Raven goes down. Ooh, great control here by Clem. A scan here. He knows there must be an observer over me, so he gets the kill on that. No tank sieging. And, he's going to be in a position where he can siege up here. The Colossus is out.
Colossus is done. Stalker's blink forward, able to take down the first siege tank. Second one will also get focused fire down, but at the cost of a lot of these Stalkers' lives. And now the Colossus also going to drop to the Cyclone and the Marauder after the siege tanks just shelled it from a distance. And now the third base under huge threat. It's just 3 Stalkers and 1 sentry here for Classic.
Stim is done. Oh my god, he's gonna get the deny on the warp in twice! That might not give him enough time to save the Nexus. Zealot's gonna come down here. They're gonna dive on the tanks. The stutter step micro is real. And GG. Clem with a very precise TVP there. Getting, you know, a couple jabs in with a follow-up knockout punch. And Classic, you know, it's so crazy how different TVP looks now when Terrans win. They are winning with pushes that end the game faster than any TVZs we're used to. You know what I'm saying?
It's a very fast-paced matchup if Terran decides they want to try and end the game early, because either the push wins, and obviously the Protoss is out of the game, or as we saw with Cure, you know, you go for the push, and if it fails, I mean, the pendulum just swings right on back. Usually it is a short-lived game regardless. But Clem, well executed there in game number 1. I mean, honestly, just a beautifully played game with a Cyclone and Marines. He wasn't able to find the economic damage done on Classic side of the map, but even just being able to pick off 2 Stalkers the way that he did, I mean, that is a very big value add for Terran. And the Raven also getting just a handful of probes. So much of Protoss holding on against pressure like that in the early game just relies on them having a clean start without losing Stalkers, without losing probes, without getting too significantly disrupted economically. And if Clem could just continue to approach these matchups on Ruby Rock and 10,000 feet with that kind of style, Clem's going to be in a very good position to go to the final match.
What tea is Classic drinking here?
I'm going to look, actually.
Looks maybe Earl Grey or something?
I would be shocked if it was Earl Grey.
Why would you be shocked?
I feel like most of the Korean folks that I know who will be drinking tea will either be having barley tea at home or green tea. I mean, that's kind of deterministic, but just in my experience, having lived in Korean tea houses, it's...
I'm drinking green tea right now.
I've also got my own
green tea gamers over here.
It's nice.
But it looks
just a
pretty
little bit
dark.
Of caffeine. Oh, was it?
It looks pretty dark. I mean, the thing is, you know, different when you're playing, right? I mean, you really want to be kind of zooted up on caffeine.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is an Earl Grey. Now I see this.
Can't be chamomile or something like that. You're not like, I need to relax.
Don't want that melatonin?
No.
I do have chamomile at home, though. I'll have that sometimes if I'm struggling to sleep.
I drink that when I have my jammies on.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't have any proper jammies. I guess I got sweatpants, but it's close enough for me.
No, I have have pajamas like I'm a child. Okay, like the pants. Pants match the top.
Like a Thomas the Tank Engine kind of.
Yeah. Just, you know.
Clipper the big red dog.
Just stuff like that. I look like you know. It looks like Christmas present wrapping. You know, it's all very cute. Okay, so into this game, it's going to be quick tech, probably with the command center right after it.
Classic on the hunt for this SCV, by the way.
Yeah, can't quite get him. Going to go for the other weak SCV.
Oh, this probe's a fighter. It is just bullying these SCVs right now.
By the way, this is like, you do not want to lose 2 SCVs early here. Oh!
You know, I feel like part of this is Clem just being like, you know, I want all my workers to be mining, so I'm not going to have an SCV following the probe all the time. But now we have 2 SCVs that are just kind of running around.
It's a lot of lost mining time.
I mean, you could also just repair the SCV. Clem's smarter than me. He's going to be doing this for a good reason, but it does look very funny,
no,
doesn't it?
This doesn't look great for Terran not mining this much.
I mean, intuition tells me, oh, by the way, Recall should be able to save the probe here.
Like tries to throw a nade in there, too. That's so funny.
Imagine the nade gets recalled back, disrupts the whole Protoss mineral line.
All right. So we're going to have the CC thrown down here as well. It's going to be Reaper probably into Hellion. Well, I say that, but we actually had some Reaper games where it was straight into Tech Lab. So we'll see. We'll see what Clem does.
Yeah, I think with the second Reaper, it likely will be a Hellion play. It's just how many Hellions are we actually going to have here from Clem? We had Cure go for 2 different Hellion builds. One was with, I can't remember how many Hellions and Reapers, but it was more than just 1 Hellion and 2 Reapers, where he tried to set up for an attack at the third base of Protoss. But I think if you go for this variant with just 2 Reapers and 1 Hellion, you dive at the natural expansion as fast as possible and try and get damage done. And this might be Clem responding to what he scouted from Classic in game number 1, because in game number 1, Classic did not have the shield battery here at the natural expansion. He actually completely skipped the battery early. And Clem is one of the Protoss players when he does play PvT, where he will throw down the battery specifically to deal with that build. So perhaps Clem just making a little bit of a read on Classic. That's deciding how he plays game number 2.
I want to see what adjustments Classic is going to come into this with. There's something about it. I can't put my finger on it yet. I find that like some of the games I've cast today have been a little bit trickier to follow compared to other days of GSL. But like, for instance, Clem perfectly held off Kira's attack. The SCV pulls as well. There was 18 SCVs pulled in that. And like literally it was like 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots. I barely held it. I never even used my workers to defend. And then we're having these other games where it's either Cure or Clem pushing, and Protosses are just getting split wide open.
Yeah, again, I think so much of it just comes down to exactly how things shake out in the early game.
Yeah, I guess you get a couple of extra worker kills here and there. You know, when you hear some players, like if you listen to Home Story Cup and you hear pro gamers talking, a lot of people complain. They'll be like, oh, he lost 3 workers, this game's over. And people are like, no, it's not. Like, why are you saying that? But like, that's kind of how you're actually supposed to look at a game. Can you just go all the way to the corner and bro this? Ooh. Yeah, that's kind of how you're supposed to look at this. This is so ambitious. Can this actually work? No. Okay. But, yeah, I mean, at the highest level of play, it's like, well, you lost 4 workers here, and then you lost 2 more over there, and you didn't have to lose those. And now this push is going to come out, and both of you guys didn't miss a beat, and this person has, you know, 2 more Stalkers than you, or whatever the number, you know, what he's going to get another tank out a little bit sooner, and then the game ends. Yeah. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just this really tight style of play, no mistakes being made, that is doing just enough damage that these pushes are doing it. By the way, Charge is going to come down, so he's getting Blink into Charge. Charge is very good at kind of dismantling 2-base pushes.
Yeah, Charge with a pretty fast forage, too. So Classic likely going to be trying, okay, I was going to say, likely going to try and rely purely on gateway units to defend whatever the push is from Clem, but Classic once more throws down the Robotics Bay. And this is a lot of investment from Classic. By the way, nice, I was going to say nice pickoff at Clem with lightning fast reactions, able to save this medevac. I feel like basically 9 times out of 10, if Terran gets caught like that with the medevac, it is going down, but Clem just a little bit too quick. I don't know about this here for Classic. This is a little bit scary for me. Going for the Forge, trying to get a +1 upgrade, as well as teching into Colossus.
Dude,
it's a lot of resources that are spent.
5 gates, man. 5 gates is a lot. It's a lot of charge lots. He's not making probes. Or no, sorry, he's making 3 probes. He's literally making a probe out of every nexus. Sorry. I was going to say, maybe you get just a few more, and then you lock in and get ready for this push you know is coming.
I think he's going to get enough to saturate the mineral line here on the 3rd base, which is 4 more probes, and then cut. So right around 57, 58 probes, likely going to be the final number here for Classic, up until he gets some more scouting information from Clem. And Clem is going for a bit more of a slow burn build with this. It's not the super fast siege tank push that we've had in some of these other PvT games. So it's going to hit later, and it's actually going to hit on the back of a couple of medevac drops. So maybe not even something completely committed here for Clem.
Yeah, talk about a late push, though. Got to be a little uncomfortable if you're Classic, right? You're like, where is this attack coming? Now, notice that, you know, for instance, in Clem's games against Cure, he actually had, like, spotter Stalkers outside the base. Classic did not do that. Now, I think it's not going to matter because there's a Colossus here. I think Clem just tries to do whatever damage he can do. And now the rest of the push is coming. Oh, my God, and these Widow Mines are right in the front.
Both Widow Mines fall. They do trade out with Stalkers, though. And Thermal Lance is about halfway done.
Oh. He's going to hit down here. The split push is set up. Remember that, you know, a lot of the important tools that Protoss have here can't be in 2 spots at once, right? You might want to look at wherever the Colossus is and just go to the other direction. But Classic's position, his formation's been pretty good. By the way, Classic taking 6 o'clock. I just noticed this. And hold on, we're going to have a fight right here in the middle of the map. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, Classic just going to pounce forward with these Stalkers, able to snipe one siege tank immediately, but the good focus fire by Clem really neutralizes the Stalker count right now. And Clem simultaneously is going to attack the expansion at 3 o'clock. That will force a recall. A medevac drop gets picked off in the main base with 2 Widow Mines.
Oh my god, this is A-moved, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to happen whenever you're trying to deal with all of these different fires like this is Classic. This is why Clem's playstyle is so good, is that he just leverages his better multitasking to try and force errors out of opponents. But besides losing the Colossus, I will say that Classic dealt with that surprisingly well.
Yeah, I think Classic is almost there as far as where he needs to be tech-wise. He needs to get this this base set up here. Classic actually got, oh, nice, snipes that. I don't think there's anything that can even save this command center.
I almost feel like we're going to have a base trade against Tasteless. Recall is on cooldown right now. The 4th base here at 6 o'clock is vulnerable. The base at 3 o'clock also vulnerable. This command center gets picked off.
I mean, he's playing the game of his life here. Classic going to close in on this base now. Not a whole lot here. You know, the thing is, I don't know that Clem has enough to take out everything that's over here. Oh my god, he's force fielded the ramp. Although I think they can fit in the side, yeah. But you get it, you know, he's going to have a lot of workers killed there. Classic playing one of the best PVTs I've ever seen him play. And that's all you got to do. You've reset him to 1. You're still on 3. You're still drinking in the resources of 3 bases while he's on his 1 that is going to mine out soon.
Yeah, and Clem needs to take a favorable fight immediately if he wants to stay in this game. So Clem is going to be pushing forward right now. Widowmine's actually getting caught right there by the Zealots and the Colossus on the front line. Both get picked off. Only 2 Vikings here. Marauder's trying to flank, but Classic blinking back, able to isolate that force, take out all of those units. And the bio from Clem, it's already injured from the stim. It's going to stim once more. I'm not sure if there's enough force field. Energy recharge will give enough force field.
Oh, okay. Nice shot on the Disruptor. Oh, Classic oversteps, comes back out on the map. Zealots here in the main. 10 more SCV kills. All Classic has to do is hold this.
I think Classic's done it. Man,
GG.
Beautifully played there by Classic.
Yeah, I love it. That was great.
Classic just rolled with the punches basically everywhere. The only mistake I can point to is him losing the Colossus in the center of the map, but he was able to deflect multiple attacks in multiple locations, including the Widowmine drop in the main base, that were all happening at the exact same moment. I think if somebody tells you, like, hey, you're going to lose 1 Colossus, but you'll defend everything else, will you take that trade right now as a Protoss on 3 bases versus Terran on 2? You're like, oh yeah, I'll take that trade 100 times out of 100. Even though it wasn't perfect play, it was certainly enough there for Classic in game number 2. And now we're going to match point on 10,000 feet. Loser of this upcoming map will be out of the GSL Code S here in Season 2. The winner will advance to face Cure in the final match.
Clem looking a little frustrated here. You know, he's not... I don't know, you know, the Terrans clearly think that these 2 base plays are the way to do it. Classic just kind of an opaque Iron Fortress back there. Just knew kind of, you know, where to roughly stay. Took a couple bruises here and there, but basically never gave up his tech. Knew when to counterattack and when to run the hell back home. All right, let's go. Game 3.
All right, game number 3 loaded in on 10,000 feet. Classic spawning in the top left is the blue Protoss. Clem, the red Terran, down in the bottom right. It's going to be an early probe scout again here for Classic, and I think that makes sense. I mean, the probe was such a disruption there in game number 2, thinking back to the SCVs that weren't mining, that weren't getting repaired.
Okay. Once again, and we're going to see this probably every game today, guys, is the probe scout over here to see if the barracks is going to be thrown down. And when I say thrown down, I mean, like, is he hiding a barracks on the map or not? I don't think we're going to have any proxies, by the way, today.
Yeah, there haven't been very many TVP proxies yet. It's all been pretty straight up, or at least as straight up as these 1-1-1 or other siege tank builds can be.
So, yeah, you know, I don't know what Clem did wrong there. I felt like he could have hit earlier. You know, when you do decide to split push and it doesn't work, it does give them ample time to kind of set up and be ready. One thing I noticed, by the way, from Classic, and I was actually criticizing him for this, and now that the game's done, I think I might have actually been wrong, and I think this actually been it might have been why he was so able to hold the push. Is what Clem does when he plays PvT is he actually has like 5 or 6 spotter stalkers watching when you're going to move out of the front of your base. And so the idea is like if you send like an SCV or Marine out, they just kill it. If you see the tanks come, you blink away or run away. And it's an old way to kind of deal with Terran. You kind of force him to siege, you force him to stim, and you just disengage. And Classic did not do that. Classic kept everything back at home. But the reality was Classic held off every drop better. Classic was basically ready to defend his second or his third base every time. Classic had maybe 1 or 2 units out spotting and just using his recalls over and over and over to basically keep stuff back at home. And then when the push came, and maybe it would have been different if Clem didn't try to hit both or 2 different locations at the same time. But, you know, by the time Clem had failed at that and then regrouped his whole army, Classic just ran over him. He just smashed him.
Yeah, there wasn't enough disruption in the Protoss early game economy for such a slow build push, I think, there for Clem. And Clem was able to get a couple of probe kills in here and there with the harassment that he went for, but thinking back to the medevac drop and really everything else that Clem tried, Classic was eventually able to clean everything up. Even the medevac denied all the way at 9 o'clock there on that previous map. Okay, nice early start here for Clem, able to pick off a probe for free with the initial Reaper here at the natural expansion. Now Clem is continuing to develop in kind of the normal way. He's adding in the Stargate. We do have a Hellion, which I think is likely going to be parked at one of these third base locations, just to try and delay the expansion process of Protoss a little tiny bit. But the main tech coming out is likely going to be from the Stargate and the next add-on here on the factory. And with the Tech Lab, again, I think it's looking more and more like we'll have another siege tank push.
Okay. Just make sure the damage is evenly distributed there. And you're going to be good. Once again, Blink coming down. We don't know what kind of game it is when we see just the Blink. We need to see how many gates. Is there going to be a third base? He's going to try to clear up the Adept. And, you know, in this tit for tat, once again, Clem kind of comes out. Oh, no, never mind. It's a bit of an exchange. The Reaper trying to run underneath the legs of the Stalker and escape. Did not work. And so Classic's going to go for, I think it's 2-gate expand. 2-gate or 3-gate. 3-gate's more popular now, but 2-gate. 3-gate might be the proper adjustment from like the last 6 to 8 months of Terrans kind of getting and doing too much damage. But I think this is 2-gate, is it not?
Yeah, it is 2-gate.
So this is the older iteration, which is fine if you get away with it, by the way.
Right. I mean, the early game has been so good for Classic. Why not go for the 2-gate?
Yeah. So I mean, this is fine, right? It's not like the newest build is the best build. It depends on like, okay, are Terrans playing? They're pushing out a little bit slower because the Protoss is, or expanding a little bit slower. And of course, does Clem get a read on that? So more gates are going to come down. The Robo coming along here as well. And we have the Raven, which the Raven is just going to stay back and throw auto turrets and try to get like, you know, if you can get like 2 or 3 probe kills with an auto turret, that's great. Now Stim starts over here in Clem's space. I'm like having such a hard time because he keeps race switching who's who. Not always, but a lot of times Stim is kind of the signifier of when the push is going to come. It's why you see it sometimes people get it very late because they can get all the other tech upgrades, and then when Stim finishes, that's kind of the last thing you need. You don't really need Stim to defend, right? And so I would assume that as we get closer to Stim, we'll see if he actually pushes out. In fact, okay, he's going to send stuff now. So this is basically when you leave your base on most maps. I think this map is one of them. If you leave when Stim's halfway done, by the time you get there, Stim is done. Now, there are tricks that Protoss can do where they'll run up there and like attack some of your stuff, and then you're like, oh, I don't have Stim, I can't really take a fight. And you can see why, you know, Protosses are trying to kind of map onto the Terrans build their own charge, because they need to have something that can basically swarm that.
Yeah, Clem for now just posturing in the center of the map. Classic teching into Colossus. The first Colossus about a third of the way done, and Classic is expecting the fight to happen pretty soon, I think, which is why he is not going into Thermal Lance just yet. He wants to make sure every single resource available is spent on holding the first push, although I say that and now he starts Thermal Lance right before the push is about to hit. Maybe me eat my words a little bit, Classic, but let's see if Classic is going to have enough. There's only one siege tank here in the very front, so not a long-range firepower here for Clem. But with combat shields and Stim done, And a lot of Widow Mines also, plus these 3 auto turrets here in the back line. The entire mineral line's disrupted, and now Clem's going to use that to skirt forward with the bio, trying to find an angle. It is very hard for Classic to attack into this because of the Widow Mines.
Yeah, the auto turrets were really nice there because you could see the army that retreated back actually ran into that. And there was already 5 workers killed. Now, Classic's going to hit from behind here, and it's just 1 tank. The Widow Mine's going to do some decent damage. The Zealots just disappearing, and the spread here from the infantry looking pretty good, but there's no more heal on the medevacs.
Yeah, Clem going to try and retreat away with 1 full medevac, and 2 medevacs now heading into the main base here. Oh, there's 1 pylon powering, what is that, 5 gateways and a robo bay?
So he's going to recall. He's not targeting that pylon. He's going to relocate as well. Oh.
I think Clem was anticipating the recall to be a little bit bigger. It was only a couple of stalkers, but you can't take that risk right here as Clem. So instead, Clem pulling back for now. Just going to take the guaranteed damage of being able to snipe something like a gateway, like a cybernetics core here.
You know, getting the cybernetics core is super annoying. Again, Protoss is on 3 bases. So, you know, you haven't really stopped Protoss from getting where they need to be. Granted, there's been a lot of damage dealt. Over time, I think Classic is still healthy. Auto turret's going to come down again. And you got to be careful when you commit with these medevacs here, because sometimes you move in and you can't get back out. Huge connects there.
Yeah, the connections with the Widow Mines were good, but the Colossus cleaning them up before they're able to retreat away safely is still a win here for Classic. This medevac at the 12 o'clock position so low on HP here between the natural expansion and the 3rd base, and Classic is feeling confident enough to take another expansion.
Yeah, well, you know, he's just growing, right? Now, he might do this counterattack, and this actually could work. I think that Clem may have overextended in too many different places and kind of lost too many big chunks of his army. And, you know, sometimes that counter poke, a lot of times this is how PvT goes now, is you kind of go, is he done? I think I've basically stopped him. He's got to expand now, right? Unless he's going to stay on 2 bases forever, in which case I win anyways, by the way. So he's going to come in now. Zealot charge, not quite able to connect with this. There are Vikings out, but the Stalker count is so high, I don't know that they can really hit the Colossus. So he's going to drive this back. There is a drop over here, and there are probes coming back to try to defend. The question now is going to be, does Clem have enough to actually protect his natural?
Classic going to try and attack into this position now. Stalker's going to start chipping away at the barracks and the bunkers there on the front line. Actually, Classic just thinks better, but he says he's got enough damage done. Pulls back for now. That's going to force Clem forward, then Classic re-engages. Blinks forward, snipes the Viking. Now pulling back once more. There's a warp prism with this army, so Sentry's actually going to be warped in here on the front line, and that might just really section off small chunks of this army. By the way, Clem behind all of this, I think he just loaded up a couple of medevacs and sent them here at the top side. Yes, he did. So the defense a little bit more meager here at the natural. This is a very scary position for Clem to be in, but he feels like he needs to get something done.
Yeah, he's going to drop in here again. Going to kill off some of the workers, and then with the recall baited, he's going to pull out. Now, we have Clem regrouping. He's going to try to move up. And, you know, I got to say, this is like a really almost impossible position here for Clem. Oh, God, he's got to get those medevacs away. Clem doesn't have a 3rd base. Oh, my God.
Oh, it's a death trap. That's 20 supply that's going to get cleaned up.
Did you see Clem's face?
It's painful. I mean, it's 20% of his entire army that just fell in those 2 medevacs. That is so much damage done. Because really, Clem, even though economically he's been in such a bad position over this game, he's only just now starting to establish this 3rd base. At least Clem had the army supply advantage. That was the one thing he had going in his favor. And now falling with 20 supply, those 2 medevacs, Classic has then been able to even it up. And there's a Dark Shrine coming in too. Clem, given the position that he's in, I don't think he has any chance of saving scans. You got to be dropping mules as soon as that energy comes online to try and regain lost ground. We don't even have missile turrets here at the natural expansion or the 3rd base or the main base. 4 DTs could be huge. 2 of them will drop in the main base. 2 will run into the natural expansion and the 3rd.
Yeah, and he's going to make sure these DTs are split in such a way it's going to be hard to take them out with 1 scan. And again, you have a Terran that is so behind here, that is just trying to get back into this game. The and really, it might be a push, which is where he's able to do that. And again, he just runs when the scans come down, gets a couple of kills on SCVs, runs away again. This is forced to lift off. This is so bad. I think if Clem can't do something like right now, this game is probably over. I mean, Clem has been slowed down so successfully here by Classic.
The DC is even denying the missile turrets at the third base there for Clem. And so Clem, he's sending the army here forward. A lot of Vikings in position to try and intercept this Colossus. The Liberator's also sieging up. The army of Clem is still powerful here. Classic might be maxed, but he doesn't have a lot of resources in the bank. It's all about these first armies.
Oh my God, there's even some hallucinated Colossi here, so it's not clear where the Vikings, where they want to hit. He takes the Nexus out, but it's still 4 base. Oh, I guess he's actually not mining from that one. It is really 3 base versus 3 base when you look at it that way. Okay, Clem got in. He got something done. He didn't really lose his army. He didn't really have to trade it out. Oh, here we go. Another big attack coming in here now. Classic. Looked like he was going to overextend for a second here. Unfortunately, the Colossi that are real are the ones that are going to be absorbing the shots, while the hallucinated ones go almost untouched.
Great sense there by Clem, picking off 2 of the 4 Colossi. The DPS of the Protoss army is significantly lower now. This Classic was really just trying to catch Clem there in the middle of the map, but the trade going so well for Terran, and now this Protoss army is in kind of an awkward position. But Clem has to be so careful with the stims. He's been committing so much starport production time to Vikings and the Liberators that the healing is a little bit meager right now for Terran, and the Liberators getting entrenched in a very good position. Classic is going to pull back. Clem still has a chance in this game. Classic below max supply right now. Army supplies advantaging Clem. Classic going to try and engage onto this, but he doesn't want to enter the liberation zones. It is too much damage from above.
The Colossi can't really do any more damage. There's still 4 more Vikings here. They're getting their picks off. He's going to go, almost dives in. Is this an overextension? Oh no, the battery's going to heal that Colossus. Oh God, okay, he takes that one out. There's 1 more Colossus here. After that, it's just these units. I don't know that they can engage underneath these Liberators. The Liberators have completely flipped the game upside down.
Yeah, the Stalkers cannot deflect the Vikings because of the Liberators, and so every single Colossus now has fallen. It's just gateway units here for Classic. Clem pushing back in. Liberators all getting sieged up right now in front of the third base, and Classic once more has to retreat. His army supply has cratered to 48, and Clem, even though his bio army, the medevacs have no energy left to heal it, I'm not sure there's enough damage in Classic's army to take this down.
I cannot believe Clem is doing it. And there just isn't the right composition here anymore to fight this. He's going to end up taking out this base down here. One would imagine if the infantry attack and he wants to go for the robo first. So he is going to take that Nexus down. Full send counterattack here from Classic. This means the natural is going to fall. Never mind. I got to stop deciding that things are going to happen before they actually happen.
No, Clem is instead going to pull back. This is a great move coming in here by Classic because the threat of the DTs is still massive. If you lose the orbital commands, you also lose your detection here as Clem. So Clem needs to be so careful on the defense. And now Classic on the hunt, trying to isolate small sections of Clem's army like this to take the favorable trades. Clem will be able to stabilize by pulling everything back home. But look at the minimap. Classic is double expanding on the left side. If Classic can resaturate all of these bases once these Nexus get up, his army potential can be huge. And Clem, I mean, the bio is so low just from stimming.
Yeah,
there's going to continue chasing.
There's no medevac energy in most of these medevacs. DT is coming here again. He will be able to save the turret in time. Clem right now with 25 SCVs. The thing is, the tech is no longer as powerful. He's switched into Templars, by the way, which is probably the right call. He's going to continue the DT slow drip. Clem barely on a base. Clem might have a better army. He certainly has a bigger army, but it depends on how Psystorms connect.
Templar here on the front line. Keep in mind the bio's already been so low on HP from all this stimming, all of the engagements that have taken place, with only 4 or 5 medevacs to heal them up.
By the way, the bottom left is an empty base.
Oh yeah, there's a Marine down there.
So it's not like he's mining from that. Classic, oh my God. Another nice storm. Remember that a lot of times when Protoss is going to head in bases, you can just try to counterattack over and over again. You have more mining bases. It's harder for the Terran to wipe out as much stuff. We have a drop inbound here. This base, which was just remade. Oh, he's gonna ditch the push there. He needs to run back.
It almost feels like Clem is trying to play a game of whack-a-mole right now. These expansions that just keep popping up everywhere on the map. And Classic trying to go for these counterattacks. The Liberators are going to siege up once more. The Zealots take a really good trade, getting full surface area on the Marauders and the Marines. Classic just trying to keep Clem occupied, so the expansions lining the left side of the map can fully saturate, can start mining, and Classic will have the income to actually replenish his army, because right now it's basically just Zealots. Classic has 24 Zealots, and that is almost all of his army supply.
Yeah, he's going to continue to move up. Again, Classic is giving up a decent amount here and there to try to keep this whole momentum going. Clem is going to once again move in. There are 2 mining bases because the 9 o'clock base is not being mined. Right, this one right here, this base is not being mined from. So we don't really count that. You have to actually get the workers over there to do that. It is 65 probes, 26 SCVs. He's moving back again. This Marauder and Marine are going to tip Clem off to that. Clem can never quite get enough to both attack and defend.
Classic's coming in for another counterattack. Stalker's able to take out both of these Liberators here at the third base. A lot of SCVs are falling. Clem at the same time will be able to take out the base at 9 o'clock. So Classic losing one more expansion. The Mules are going to drop and try and resaturate up this base. Clem down to 12 SCVs. His army is still better in a straight up fight because it's basically just Zealots here for Classic. The problem for Clem is that he never has the chance just to push across the map and take the traits that he wants because Classic just keeps counterattacking, just combining their names.
Yeah. Okay, but he's going to move out now, and I don't see any army to counterattack here, which means that Classic probably has to actually fight this. And it's a lot of Terran here. Will the Storms be good enough? The kiting is pretty crazy.
Kiting is huge right now for Clem, but the 2-2 upgrades for Classic are really paying off. Look at how long it takes the Marauders to actually chew through all of these Zealots.
Oh my god, he's dropping over here, but there should be a storm from this Templar.
Energy recharge on the Templar. Clem's going to pivot back into the main base and now try and snipe this Nexus here in the center. This game is crazy. Stalker's recall here into the main base as well as some Zealots going to try and pick off those medevacs. More probes falling.
A massacre on the probes there. He's going to pick up. He's going to get zoned all the way into the corner. Can he even get out of here? Is the question I'm wondering. Is he actually just stuck here?
Clem with his face in his hands there. I think the medevacs got cleaned up in the main base of Classic, and now his entire army is isolated he's on this top side.
He's painted himself into a corner here. And that's going to be it. GG. Classic defeats Clem. And the legacy of GSL, no foreigner, winning our tournament happens yet again here in 2026.
I mean, Clem made a great run of it here on the round of 8, getting so close to taking down Classic. I mean, you could see Classic with a sigh of relief. That was a crazy game between these two. And honestly, Clem was basically down and out. A heroic attempt to try and come back.
It was a great game.
He made a game out of something where he never should have had any chance to close the distance. Clem somehow found a way to do it. The army movement, especially by Clem when he was pushing in and taking out those bases and finally was able to disrupt the main army of Classic, was perfect.
Clem's super aggressive, getting out there, taking whatever fights he could, but ultimately it was one of those games where Protoss was too big to fail. All you had to do, once you saw the Terran leave, was counterattack from the other side. Because at that point in time, Clem, that's his only mining base. He has to send stuff back to protect it. And then, Protoss, even if they're on 3 extra bases and one of them isn't mining, it doesn't matter. You're still taking in more resources.
Yeah, the counterattacks coming across the map by Classic just really proved to be the crucial nail in the coffin.
Short break, guys. When we come back, our final best of 3 of the night.
that you're longing for a little change. A bit of something different in a different place. Somewhere the grass is greener. Call it a spiritual healer. I hear you, darling, I feel ya. Me and you, there's nothing we can't do together. Come on, let's go fly away. Find a beautiful escape. With the wind on our backs, we'll be going so fast. There's no need to be afraid. Come on, let's go fly away now.
GSL Season 2.
GSL Season 2. Gross. Welcome back, everybody. Guys, if you're watching this stream, you're probably sad that Clem died because you probably wanted to see a foreigner do well. Well, maybe the casters will do okay, but right now the players, foreign players are dead. It's another season, man.
We will have foreign casters in the finals of GSL.
That's
we can
right.
promise you that.
It's crazy. I don't know what it is about this tournament. I was telling State on the break, I'm like, if you told me, like, okay, Tasteless, I'm from the future. Serrald's won the world champion, the world championships at BlizzCon. This was a long time ago. Raynor won Gamers 8. Clem won EWC. How many times have those guys won GSL? I'd be like, oh, 6 times, right? No, not even once.
It's never happened.
It's never happened. It's crazy to me. And these guys, they win the biggest events in the world. But not this one.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is the prep because,
yeah,
you know, people always say that, and I know to some degree it's true, but it's not like folks like Clem, for instance, or Rain, or any of the guys are incapable of prep. I guarantee you they prep for their matches.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the GSL. It just never has been able to click for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just gotta say I can't believe it's still going on. You know what I mean? Like, we're, what, 17 years into StarCraft 2? And it's like, all right, I just thought, you know, I've been here the whole time, by the way. I thought we would have not even like a whole year, just like a season. Maybe it'll never come. I don't know.
You're going to have to
when
take
it happens,
up the,
I'll be here. I'll be here for it. That much is for sure.
You have to take out the mantle yourself, Tasteless. We need Tasteless and GSL Codex.
That's right. You need me both playing and casting myself. I'm like, this is where my army destroys his stuff. There's too much.
It's like one of those moments.
Sad.
It's like one of those moments where you cast it and like actually it doesn't happen. There's DTs or something. You're losing.
I'm losing all my feeling. All of my workers are being killed by Ravager shots. This is bad.
That would be fun if we had like a caster tournament and everybody has to cast the game from their perspective.
That would be hilarious.
That would be some tomfoolery, man.
That would be pretty fun.
Because streaming and commentating your play is very different from trying to cast a game.
No, trying to be like a caster, like you're trying to hype it, and you're trying to tell a story, but you're also actually like playing and trying to not miss pylons and stuff. Artosis
has proven that streaming and commentating your game is very different from
it's
casting.
very different. He's a very different person. Okay. So we, once again, like we are going to have in every game, a probe sent across the map here. Oh, never mind.
Classic looking for proxies, actually.
Yeah.
Huh.
I wonder why. I guess you have to mix it up, right?
Yeah, it is interesting to do this, though. I feel like if you're going to look for proxies, it might just be better to check the main base of Terran first to see if there even are proxies to look for. But perhaps Classic is going to be proxying something with this of his own, because in that case, it makes sense. You make sure the SCV does not spot your probe going for some kind of pylon somewhere on the map. And Curry's going to be going for an engineering bay lock here at the natural expansion. Classic will spot this immediately, and Classic can choose either to take the third base as his first expansion, or to instead pull probes and try and deal with the engineering bay. And he's just going to opt to take the third. By the way, I love Classic pulling down his second probe from the main base just in case Kira canceled the engineering bay a little bit too early, so that he can still retake the Nexus there at the natural expansion. It almost reminds me of watching Dark juke probes in ZBP to make sure that he always gets the hatchery down at the natural. Nice little maneuver there by Classic.
So a lot of times when you force the second Nexus to be where the third base is, you would, well, maybe not in this game, but in a lot of those games, it's set up for like some kind of harass. Like, you know, Reaper or Hellion, although I don't see any Reapers this game here, but sometimes you can end up getting in an angle that's a lot harder to get there.
Yeah, it's usually some kind of early harassment that either targets the second expansion or the main base, or it's a dedicated push like a siege tank push. And Kira's already been leveling the competition with siege tank pushes. He did a siege tank push in every single game earlier on versus Clem. Was able to win 2 out of the 3. That's why he's all the way here in the final match. So let's see if let's see if Kira, excuse me, a lot of C's today. Kira, Classic, and Clem. Let's see if Kira is going to go for something like a siege tank push here now that he's been able to force Classic to take the most exposed possible second expansion.
Now I want to do a check. What does Classic see up in the main with that?
I think he can see
the
add-on.
CC, right?
Yeah, I can see the CC, and I believe he can see the add-on. I don't think he can see the factory. If I were to guess. Oh, he did see the factory.
So he sees everything.
He did see the factory, yeah.
So I want to point this out because we were talking about this earlier. Like, it just seems like people should be a little bit better at hiding this. Just keep them guessing. I don't know. We saw Clem do it. Just want to put that out there. So medevac, Cyclone, third base about to land. Now, I imagine we're going to see more barracks come down. Actually, let me think here. So Cure did factory and then 3 racks with like no medevac push, right? Is that what he did?
Yeah, I think that was game 1. This time it's not that. He does have the starport. So if extra barracks are added in for Cure, it's going to be in just a little bit because he needs to spend basically all of the minerals right now on pumping units with the production setup that he's already got. By the way, medevac is boosting across the map right now to try and join these forces here on the front lines. Shield battery is here for Classic. But I wonder how much damage Cure can actually get down. Oh, great first volley there by Classic, already bringing the Cyclone down to half HP. I think that takes a lot of the wind out of the sails for this initial move out.
Yeah, no SCVs to repair here. 1 tank. Does this feel like it was a bit premature? I feel like he maybe should have waited for the tank at least. Maybe the idea is he wanted to kind of thin that out. So we have everything rallying out here. And Protoss is going to take a third base. Now, it looks like the Stalkers are going to walk right into this.
Yeah, the first siege tank volley, though, doesn't do very much. It just removes the shields from these Stalkers. So this is something that Classic can afford. But once the second siege tank joins the fray...
He's got the SCVs.
Yeah, there is one in the medevac right now. The damage is going to start really building up. It's still just Stalkers here for Classic, 9 in total, 1 more warping in. There is an Immortal also in production, and Classic, half those Stalkers are all the way across the map. He's going to be intercepting reinforcements with this now, but there are certainly not enough units for Classic to prevent Cure from really just sieging on top of this Nexus.
Yeah, I don't know that this can be saved. The Stalkers are going to be coming up here from behind. The Marines are going to end up spotting this. You're going to have a much better position to try to fight from. You know, the tanks are deep in the middle. It's kind of hard. There's no angle where it's like going to be easy to come in here and hit him. But he's going to go for the dive. Is it enough, though?
I think it might be. The Immortal was able to power through and take down those siege tanks. Marines now getting to work on the Stalkers. Now, with the range of the Stalkers, even though they're going to be very badly bruised, Classic should be able to clean this up without sustaining too many more losses. And so Cure's just going to pivot down and try and take down Probe. I think this is a very smart move coming in here by Cure because behind this, he can load up and go for 1 more push.
Yeah, and this next push could be pretty strong. Problem is he only killed a little bit of workers there. And, you know, with what Protoss has, you're fine, like, basically trading everything to kill that because you got your third base up, they're continuing to tech. The tank count, of course, is reset. Now, he might want to come in here and do a blink into the main.
Is there something to spot into the main
I think
base?
there's an observer.
Yeah,
right there. Yeah, that's it. Now, Cure's totally ready for this. By the way, Stim started. Now, you could, in theory, I think, blink in there and kill Stim. He doesn't know what's in what, so he's going to deny combat shields. Which is great, too. Stim is better.
Bit of an expensive trade there for Classic, though. I think that he thought he was just out of range of that siege tank, but didn't quite eyeball it correctly, so many of those Stalkers getting picked off.
It's a funny fight over there.
It's always funny whenever Vikings die in mid-transformation to something like probes in a single Stalker.
Well, nothing takes longer than the Viking transformation. You can see Blizzard was a little bit worried about that when they were designing it. They're like, don't worry, it's going to be really slow. In fact, it's going to be so slow, it's the slowest thing ever. So the scan over here. And, you know, there is a third command center, so it's not like the game end is inevitable. But the push is really important. Like, you really need to make something happen here with the next push or two here. Because Classic's going into the 4th base here. He's going to fly up in here with this. Now, he could drop right on the tank and then blink in and get stim.
Yeah, SCVs need to get pulled for repair on this, actually. No, Siege Tank just gets taken out.
No blink in? Where are those stalkers? Okay, I guess not. Whatever. Felt like that opportunity was there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You blink in, you hit the same tech lab you hit in on the first blink.
I thought that was why you send that in to begin with.
Right.
With the Zealots was to get rid of the tank and then make it so that you could actually do that. So it's going to be 4 bases now. Terran is going to get a third. It hasn't landed yet. Oh! Nice. Takes that out. Things looking better and better here for Classic.
Yeah, Classic taking a 4th base, adding in the Templar Archives, I think mostly for Archons with the setup that he's got. Just 4 gases in total, so it's hard to afford Storm. But Protoss is really in a good position right now with these 4 bases. Even though the work counts are even, the saturation is going to be optimal here for Classic on minerals. And the moment that 4th base gets fully saturated, the mineral income is just going to spike through the roof right here for Classic.
Oh, what? Okay, he's going to blink out, so he should be fine there. This is funny. He's going to just drop the Colossus here. I mean, why not? You can actually kill a bunch of workers if you're given enough time. Just has to pick this up and get back out. Beautifully done.
Some nice damage there for Classic. And Kira's taking a 4th expansion. Classic re-expanding here into the center of the top right map. I think that the window for Kira to try and end the game with a push has started to close unless Classic somehow stumbles into a horrible engagement. And so Kira right now just going to try and safely take 3 or 4 bases. And that should be enough income for at least the next couple of minutes that Kira can start to get his army into the place that he wants it to be at. The issue is, soon an onslaught is going to be coming here to the Terran base. Classic, once he saturates this 5th base, especially with a high-yield Vespian gas powering more Archons, Classic is going to have a massive economy. He's even taking the other base with another high-yield Vespian gas. And this is the way the Protoss plays PvT in the mid-game.
Yeah.
It's usually less tech-focused units. It's all about raw power and trading units out, such as Zealots, such as Archons. And the problem for Kira is going to be, how do I actually defend this efficiently enough that I still have a chance in the game? Because it'll be difficult no matter what happens. But the trades need to be good enough for Terran that they can transition into a late game and try and convert it into a win.
Yeah, and notice he takes the 2 bases that are kind of close, because not only are they both expansions, but they can be launching pads for counterattacks. So you can basically seesaw what you're doing on the map. Now, I think Kira is the best in the world at this, literally, this type of game. But it doesn't mean he's going to win this here now.
Yeah, and Classic's playing this really well, especially using the high-yield Vespian gases to make sure that he gets Archons added in, and now attacking in before the Planetary Fortress is done. Classic, are you going to commit onto this? The angle is really hard for the Zealots to find. There are enough Vikings here to 2 or 3 shot these Colossi. In fact, both of them are going to fall. Oh, that one's so low on HP finally does get cleaned up. Blink forward by the Stalkers, but you just see the efficiency of Kira's army. He is powering through.
He's going to continue to stutter step micro here. It's only 3 medevacs, so the stims are pretty permanent as far as the damage dealt. He has a Warp Prism gliding through the main here. He'll probably have to park that in the top left corner. More Warp-ins are going to come. This tug of war over here could go back to where this command center is, soon to be a planetary.
It's only 3 medevacs for Cure, and that has been a couple of sims there on the front line. So the Bio's so low on HP that Classic can actually just warp in and push in one more time. The Archon actually doing huge damage with a splash on all this red Bio. When you see Archons get this much done, GG is called. Classic's going to take game number 1.
That was crazy. Well done by Classic, man. He played really, really well. And, you know, the reality is, like, Cure really didn't do that much early on in that game. You know, he tried to have that push that came in, and Classic just stayed super patient. He had an attack from 3 different angles to hit that. He took out the tanks. He barely had enough Stalkers, but Stalkers, you know, you can really appreciate how garbage Marines are without stim combat shields or medevacs when you watch them fight Stalkers, because that 1 extra range a Stalker has, over time, you will just always be able to beat Marines. And so he cleaned that up. And look, it wasn't like Cure pulled 18 SCVs like we saw earlier today. but he still wasn't in a position where he could do that much damage. And from there, Classic just had that mammoth economy. The ability to basically fund an endless war on the map. And eventually he was able to flood that position with a good engage. He got in there, he got the kill, and now Classic's up 1-0.
You know, the first part of that engagement at Cure's Planetary Fortress went so well for Cure. I wonder if Cure should have just pulled back after cleaning up the Colossus, after winning the first skirmish. A lot of Zealots and Stalkers also were mopped up there by Terran. But instead, it was kind of this protracted, long engagement between the two of them, where Cure had to keep stimming to be able to engage with the Protoss. But with only 3 medevacs there on the front line, the healing just was nowhere to be found. So Classic was able to effectively win a war of attrition down to the 9 o'clock expansion. And just some food for thought. I do wonder if Cure would have been able to stabilize had he been able to pull back and maybe cycle out a couple more medevacs from the starports.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, any game, I know StarCraft's a deep and complex game, and we're going to learn new stuff about it every time we have, you know, a day like today. But, you know, this is a simple concept. It's if you're on 2 bases and you try to do something that ends the game and it doesn't work, the rest of the game's going to be hard. That's kind of a principle. That's a law in the game, you know. If you're, you know, we see it when it's like, oh, he's going to do like this kind of like 2-base adept crazy play, or, you know, any of these big timing attacks that come in. You'll see it, you know, when Zerg's, you know, theirs is not always 2-base, but they try to do something that's going to be really pronounced and end the game right away, and it doesn't work. Well, now the guy that defended probably was teching, probably was, you know, making a couple extra workers, but not too many, and now they can get into a good spot. Now, I don't know that Terran should stop playing like this. In fact, this may be the way to do it. The fact that you have Cure and Clem and Maru, you know, not today, but, you know, we've seen Maru already this year. And they really seem to be eager to close the game out with the timing. The problem is that I just feel like the more games that we have of that from Terran, the more the answer gets crystallized for Protoss, you know? It always feels like, you know, some of these weird pushes are scary, but the more games you play, the more you're like, no. I cut workers here, or I just delay this tech, or I get my gateways earlier, you know, whatever it is, whatever the tech is, whatever the matchup is, and the buildings and the units and all that. It does seem like after a while it gets sorted. So let's see what happens this game.
Yeah, I don't want to be too deterministic about it because Cure is capable of really doing anything. But I feel like we're likely going to have another siege tank push coming out from him. It has just been really the winning strategy here for Cure. That's how he was able to take out Clem. He did it every single game, and it didn't really work there in game number 1 versus Classic, but there have been variants that got a lot more damage done so far here to date for Cure. So let's see what the choice is going to be. First, it will be a Cyclone coming out for the Terran player just to stabilize here in the early game. And Classic once more just going into Blink here off of 1 gateway. Should Classic wants to be a little bit greedy with this one, could throw down 1 more gateway and take the 3rd expansion. We have seen that before here on 10,000 feet.
So that Robo starts. Now the question is it more gateways or is it a Nexus right away? 2 Stalkers out here. Got to be careful when that Cyclone comes out, because now he can lock onto this, and as long as you dance correctly, he actually doesn't get the kill on that. But I guess it's all going to kind of equalize. You know, the only thing that's ever going to be permanent damage is going to be the damage Protoss takes on the hull of their units. And it's going to be that Nexus. So 2-gate, Robo, Blink, Nexus. Now, it did seem for a while like this wasn't working. And so Protoss has switched into 3-gateway, the Nexus later. Classic's back on this one. And it may be the right call.
Yeah, more Stalkers being warped in here for Classic. Blink nearly done, maybe 20 or 30 seconds away right now for our Protoss player. And Cure is angling to go for a drop here. Actually, it's not a drop, it's just a scouting medevac. sees the third base there from Classic, and with this, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, that's a smart move. It's risky, but if you don't have to drop, you can drop an extra mule. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it is a really smart move. I feel like Maru's the first player I really saw do this, but he still does it quite sparingly. It's a nice little addition here for Cure in the early game. Gets to see the third base timing, see the third base placement, confirms that Classic is expanding across the top side of the map. With one more barracks coming in and no second command center just yet, I think this has to be a push coming in from Cure. Possibly even with an SVD pull.
Okay. Anything you can get, you'll take here. So he gets one probe kill. Terran's still powering up. Again, it's the same theme we've had all night tonight. Terrans are being more timing oriented than ever before. And it's that 5 gateway play. So, you know, he gets the Colossus tech. The Colossus is kind of the final piece, but he also is able to probably turn off probe production when the push comes and just warp in Zealots. And if you just have enough Zealots, the Zealots can swarm in the front, the Stalkers blink in and target the tank. And the idea is it basically just shuts the entire push down. He's going to lead with the Stalkers in the front. If you can snipe a tank, you'll take that. The Observer's here to spot.
You can even go into the main base if you want, or blink here into the natural expansion.
Oh, this is crazy.
Here's a little bit out of position, but there are a lot of units here in the main base, actually.
Wait, is this
Oh,
work?
hold on.
Wait, this is, okay. You know, it's, can you get the Observer? What a funny dance that was.
Yeah. Some of those Stalkers still struggling to get away from this, by the way. They're going to jab at this medevac. Stim still 5 seconds away. Makes it much harder for Cure to actually chase these things down. So Cure instead is going to beeline towards the third base here of Classic.
Okay, so he's not making workers anymore. It's just only produce, just get enough. He wants to force a siege, maybe snipe a Marauder if he can. Oh, he blinks in. He says this tank is a little bit exposed. Another big attack over here. The tank is just eating the brunt of the damage. It's not picked up. It is bled off. The question is, can Classic get back home with the rest of this and gear up for the final attack here from Cure?
Yeah, that looked like it was going to be a really good jump for Classic, but he traded out a lot of gateway units to pick off that one siege tank. And Cure behind this, he hasn't been transitioning into more tanks. It was just a couple of tanks produced, only 2 in total on the map. And besides that, it's been nonstop Marine Marauder with Viking. So Cure has tailored his build to look like a siege tank push that's going to be hitting early. But Cure is actually setting up for a pretty good mid-game timing here with bio, with upgrades, potentially with Vikings later on. And let's see how this double drop in the main base is going to do, because that is not Cure's full army there at the third base.
Yeah, he's going to recall, and this is going to be sacrificed. Now, he is going to kill 10 workers, a little bit more than that even. But, you know, I think Classic's happy to continue this game with a black eye and still have his 3 bases, still have his tech. Thermal Lance is about to be done. He's not traded a Colossus out or anything like that, which means when the Vikings, which are just now being produced, are finally going to be coming out in pairs, you know, he's got to move that. Oh my God, I feel like the, yeah, well that just got vaporized there. And this is a very clunky attack here from Classic, where he just sort of has all his stuff in the wrong spot. Now he's still going to be able to push forward here at the force fields, actually trapping a decent amount of what Terran has back there. The Viking is like not quite able to kill this off in time, and so that was quite a lot that was traded out. But the drop comes in over here. He's going to unpower this pylon. Never mind, there's going to be enough to come in here and fight this. And Cure's headed northbound here. Classic with a very, very small army. It's literally 15 supply in army. I think Cure is about to win this game.
That was such a good move there for Cure. I mean, the scan, he spots the Colossus, and Cure's army is in position that he can just jump on it. Classic was not expecting Terran to be there in the center of the map, and Cure just turned this game completely on its head right now. Classic struggling to muster any units to deal with this. The Robo and Gateway on the front lines likely going to be empowered right here. In fact, yes, Cure will take that down. The Viking also snipes the Warp Prisms. I mean, Classic, he's trying to warp in some more units to deal with this. I think he might be able to push this army back, but the position is still so dire here for Protoss.
This should be over. Robo's unpowered, so we're not even going to have a Colossus come out here. I got to say, Classic is putting up a hell of a fight.
I mean, this is basically everything the Classic has is the army that you see on screen, whereas here there's units that are streaming across the map non-stop. More SCVs than we have probes here.
That was the right move to land the Vikings. Like, at this point in time, you're not even going to be fighting anything in the air. Classic just trying, you know, his damnedest to stay alive. Again, these are empty, energyless medevacs. But you can see as the reinforcements slowly pile up, this death ball, this little tiny death ball, but it is a little death ball, is going to slowly win this fight.
I mean, Classic's gonna keep holding on. I think he wants to hold on at least until the Dark Shrine is done. Is kind of the Hail Mary play here for Protoss, trying to get some more damage done. But these engagements, they keep getting more and more in Kira's favor. So Kira's gonna take game number 2. GG is called, and we're all tied up 1-1.
I think that all came down to losing that Colossus in the middle of the map. And it seemed like there was something going on. You know, when you have an army that's kind of making this big snake-like shape on the map, sometimes when you need to retreat and click somewhere, it's really hard to know how to pull it in the right spot. The Colossus actually went down and then up and then down. Because, you know, the Colossus, it turns. It's like a Warcraft 3 hero. Like, in that regard, you can kind of like tell where it's thinking about going. So I don't know where he was clicking, if it was on the mini-map or somewhere else, but it kind of skirted. It like did like a little jiggle in the middle there. I don't know if he would have saved it anyways, but this is why you need to be careful to like not right-click all the way across the map in certain moments, because some units are faster and slower than others, right? That's where you have like this one unit, which is basically your whole ground army is kind of there to like protect the Colossus. And the Colossus is just going to kind of sand down that bio ball, and eventually you win.
Well, Kira with a catch of a lifetime, just pouncing on that army, taking out the Colossus, and then the follow-up fight was able to turn the game on its head, and now we're going to map number 3 between Classic and Kira. Classic spawning here in the bottom right is the blue Protoss, Kira the red Terran in the top left. The winner of this map on Ruby Rock is going on to the offline finals, to the round of 4 in the GSL Code S. The loser is out of this season.
Yeah, it's going to be... I think this is a tough one to call. I don't think anybody has the answer here. These guys are very evenly matched. This matchup, by the way, it's funny. I kind of imagine that if it was like, okay, Terran's 2-basing every game with a super late third, one side would always be winning, right? But it seems like it's actually pretty fair. Some games Terran take, some games Protoss takes. It's making for one of the most complicated, most interesting mid-games in SC2, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a very fun dynamic in StarCraft 2 PvT, where in the early game, there are just all these different options that Terran has to try and throw the Protoss player to disrupt their system. And Protoss has to deal with everything reasonably well, otherwise they just kind of hobble into the mid-game. But there also is the threat of Protoss, you know, if they are basically impervious in the early game, if they're able to parry everything that Terran throws at them, if they're able to take their 3rd and their 4th base safely and saturate everything up, and defend whatever the first push is that Terran goes for, well then suddenly Protoss is a beast that is basically out of control. They are unleashed on the map. They take expansions at really an incredible rate. And they often grow to be too big to fail unless Terran takes just the perfect dream engagement. So there's a lot at stake, both on the Protoss side and on the Terran side at different stages of the game, and it makes for a very interesting dynamic and back and forth.
I don't even know who I want to have advance. Maybe Cure, just because we already had a Protoss move on.
Yeah, gotta opt for diversity, especially with Cure being in such good form recently. You know, I want to see what he could do in another round of 4 offline finals.
Yeah, I mean, Cure has been so strong, but I feel like hasn't quite really secured the results. Obviously, he did win a GSL before, but I mean, you know, he's always so good. He's always like top 4. But never the guy that's, you know, holding the trophy compared to, you know, the likes of Maru or Rogue or even players like Hero now.
It does feel that way for Cure, and I've always wanted him to have his moment in the sun, because he has just been quietly the 2nd best Terran player in Korea, basically undisputedly for maybe a decade plus. You know, there are moments where, say, Gumiho is peaking in one specific GSL season where he's better, but over any considerable period of time, Now, you take any 6-month chunk out of any year between now and I don't even know how many years back. And Kira is the best or the second best Terran player in Korea. That's just the way that it is. But, you know, Maru has just had such an iron grip on the GSL Code S that it's really hard for anybody to rack up the trophies.
Okay, the Reapers are going to come in here. And, you know, let's see what kind of kills he can get here. There is a battery, which makes it a lot harder to get anything off here.
I think you mostly want to try and juke away from the Adepts here with these Reapers. They're not going to find any damage.
I think he's going to get 1 kill on a Reaper. Yeah, he kills 1 off. The other one's going to get out. Now, the Hellions are going to come over here. And can he actually get that? Okay. Oh, I love the 1 probe sent in over here. 2 workers killed. But right now, Terran is actually hemorrhaging quite a bit. You just have to not lose too many more probes. Nice block. Oh, that was sick.
That's a huge defense here for Classic. I mean, this is basically picture perfect.
Yeah.
Usually when these Reaper Hellion builds come out, they're going to get like 5+ probes. I mean, that was just a perfect defense by Classic, more or less. Even going down to the single probe pulls there at the natural expansion just to disrupt the pathing of Terran. And Cure, let me tell you, he was planning to get a lot more done for that early build. Now the pressure is off Classic. There are some things that Cure could throw his way, like a Widow Mine drop, but Classic, he spots it immediately. And the Stalkers, they're roaming in the middle of the map. This won't kill the medevac, but it will get it very low on HP.
Already having it at half health here when you're halfway across the map is pretty big. He's going to just do a run-in with the Widow Mine. This is risky. You can see right now, oh, just use the probes.
Classic doesn't see. The Adepts are just auto-attacking it because...
Oh, that's sick. You're right. I was like so confused by that. I'm like, what is he doing?
The Adepts still cleaned it up.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he sees this Widow Mine over here.
What? Does he think that, I think he thinks he killed it. Because he saw it earlier on. He was dealing with this.
Well,
you must... Oh, it's still in the vision. But you know, if you have your screen hockey set up and you're looking at the main nexus, you will not see them. You will see just above this. Okay, finally Classic
he's
notices.
going to go over there.
Classic giving us a little bit of drama with that Widow Mine.
Yeah, well, you can see that, like, you know, when the game's chaotic enough, sometimes you think, okay, like, did my did my army figure this out for me? And we got to recalibrate. We got to get back into the game. More gates are going to come down here as we have the third base. Much later third base, by the way.
Yeah, later third base, and also no Colossus tech here for Classic.
Templar Archives here. Is he going to go for Storm? Yeah. So, we had an iteration of this build that he did in RSL last year, which was like Storm started before the third base, like the latest Storm. This is, I think, basically around the same thing. This has been a crazy early game, so I think he's kind of getting everything out later. But I think it's basically the same build.
Yeah, and I guess because Kira went for so much early harassment with a Widow Mine drop, with a Reaper Hellion play, Classic knows that he's safe for at least a couple more minutes. Stim's not going to be done. Combat Shield, +1 infantry weapons. These things could not really be faster here for Kira if Kira continued to macro up an army, and Classic knows this. And so, unlike the usual rush of trying to get one Colossus out without Thermal Lance to hold the push, Classic has the time to start warping in Templar, to start gathering energy, to fully research Storm. So Classic's going to be in a uniquely good position here versus Kira, especially if Kira doesn't catch wind of Classic going into the Storm tech, because if Classic can get the jump on the Terran army with a couple of Storms, either in a Warp Prism or, say, at the top of a ramp, that could just be game-ending for Cure, given how the early game went.
Okay, so we're getting the jabs in here from Cure. Cure is going to go all the way around the top in a wrap. And he's landing his third base, so this is not the kind of two-base powering that we were talking about. There was no push that was intended to kind of end the game. It was instead really intense harass with a third base, probably with a push inbound here in the future. Now, Terran's going to come down here. And he is going to, okay, he actually only gets one Templar, kills 10 probes. God, that was fast. He's going to pull back out before Classic's even able to engage with the army, so he's in and out.
Warp Prism with 2 Templar and a Zealot, not going to be trying to feed back or storm those medevacs because they're already pretty low on energy. Instead, just going up here to the top side. Oh, Kira just looked over here to catch the Raven, but I'm not sure he saw the Warp Prism. Okay, now Kira sees it, pulling all the SCVs! Oh, the Storms come down. Oh, it's so many SCVs that fall. 11 SCVs in total. and a feedback, and he's going to recall the Archon.
That was sick. And here's the thing. Those SCVs, I don't think they're going to be healed. I mean, if you want to take a medevac and sit him over there, you can, but you're not going to be able to heal your army. So, like, if he does a drop again, or just warps in Zealots later on, everything's going to get melted.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a target on Kira's back, all those SCVs in the main base. But the way that Kira is navigating his army composition really impresses me. He already has Ghosts out to deal with these potential Templar, and the fact that Classic is relying primarily on Templar as the damage, and only just now adding in Colossus means that if there's any engagements coming on here the next couple of minutes, should Kira get the EMPs that he needs, his army will be favored. The thing is, if we get 2 Colossus and Thermal Lance out on the field for Classic, the map does change a lot, so I think the window is now here for Kira.
Okay. This is what I was talking about, that War Prism going to come in. Even just 2 Zealots are going to kill all the SCVs. I think that Cure was maybe not following that carefully. SCVs have been evacuated in the main, by the way. Another crazy storm. Jesus.
That's like max damage and all of that bio.
16 SCVs have been killed.
I think what happened, we didn't catch wind of it, but Classic had those 2 Templar in the Warp Prism. He did not reveal them until the SCVs came back to the mineral line and then just stormed absolutely everything.
Oh my god, the Archon gets fished in.
Oh, there's no energy on this army. No Thermal Lance done just yet. Cure is on the hunt right now. He might have lost 16 SCVs, but he's about to have a big win on Protoss' side of the map.
If Cure has the damage here, and he could even push into where the Robo is, he could shut down the Colossus tech. And I think there's 2 Robos in the game, so there's another Robo somewhere. I don't know where. I see that one on the right side. Oh, I'm sorry, they're right next to each other. Oh, no!
Oh, that's a nightmare spawn for Classic. One of the Colossi just immediately rallies to its death, and now Classic is trying to set up a flank with these Zealots, but the army of Cure is so huge. It's low on HP, but this is a lot of bio on the front lines. Storm is available in the Warp Prism here for Classic. I think those Storms are going to be critical to Classic actually holding on to this push. He's already lost a base. He cannot lose more.
Yeah, he's going to try to come down here. Again, there's basically no heal here. Some nice Storms on that. Is that enough to wipe it?
Oh, the bio, it's so low on HP. Even the Zealots getting in and getting a couple of volleys off on this unit will be enough to clean it up. So Curie's going to boost away, but that means that Classic can pick off one of the full medevacs, a couple of those Vikings. Overall, it seems like a pretty even trade. Classic did lose the 4th base, so it's 3 base versus 3 bases, but the counterpunch from Classic could be huge.
Yeah, the fact that we had all those SCVs killed earlier with the Storm Drop and the Warp In is big, right? This is not like it was an untouched Terran. This is a beat-up Terran. And now, I mean, is there counterplay here? The thing is, Classic, he's like a fungus on the map. I mean, he just grows back in and expands, and it almost, kind of erases all the hard work the Cure did. The push is going to move in a little bit further here.
No Warp Prism with the army is so concerning for me.
Yeah, he's going to go for a wedge in between the 3rd base and the 2nd base. And I think he might split Terran in half here.
Yeah, but the potential for EMP is so huge right now. We have 9 Ghosts on the map. There's no Warp Prism.
Yeah, there is no Warp Prism.
Safe. And Cure with his Widowmine cleverly placed is going to catch wind of this immediately. I think Classic cannot engage.
I think he's too desperate. I don't think he should have done that at all. I didn't even realize there wasn't a Warp Prism there. Meanwhile, we have like Warp Prism speed being upgraded. Is there a Warp Prism in this game?
He needs to rebuild one.
Maybe there's one in the... No,
none.
Yeah, there's none. Okay. Well, that's not good.
And now it's starting up.
Yeah. The idea that you're getting the upgrade for that without getting the unit is bad.
Well, luckily for Classic, both of them should be finishing right around the same time. So Warp Prisms with speed. Although, again, you have the issue of 7 Vikings being on the field because Cure is trying to formulate an answer to the Colossus part of Classic composition. If you're not careful here, that's Classic. Even a Speed Prism, it takes the same number of shots from the Vikings to take that off the map.
Okay, he's going to try to move in here. on the left side again. Again, the Warp Prism should be inbound now. I think I see it on the mini-map. Can he do it, though? Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be a drop.
I thought it was this Archon.
Yeah. That's
I was like, this Warp Prism is moving so slow.
Yeah, that's literally what I thought. I was like, well, it's kind of moving weird. So he's going to go into the main. Now, Terran's going to be in for a surprise because he's going to expand into the push. So he's got to immediately pull that back. Note how the Templars are kind of spread out. All right, so this is shut down.
Well done by Curtis having a group of Marines there ready to stem.
Now, Terran can just go to 12 o'clock. You don't have to expand here. EMP hits, I want to say, like 80% of everything Protoss has there. Sometimes the Templar's coming up from the side. Sometimes that's all you need.
Oh, Curie is microing his way back into a corner right now. The storms are really dangerous. EMPs have to be clutch on these Templar. Curie's trying to get out of it. One EMP catches the Templar there on the right side. The other EMP catches the last Templar with energy to storm. And now Cure simming forward is going to clean up this army.
That was insane. He EMP'd like perfectly 6 times in a row. Every single Templar was shut down. The counter push, this is going to be really hard to hold. Protoss is in a lot of hot water right now. They basically just have Stalkers and Zealots. We know that's kind of what they're going for a lot of the time. Now he might not even have that many Zealots. He's going to go all the way back to the heart of where Protoss is at.
There's only 2 Templar left, and the Templar that gets energy recharge is immediately EMP'd. No storms available for Classic. 1,000 minerals in the bank. What are you going to do with that to try and deal with this army? One round of Zealots? I mean, the army of Cure is so massive right now. One Colossus is going to pop up. That Templar very low on energy for his storm, but another EMP catches it. The EMPs have been unbelievable.
Yeah, he is continuing to chase this down. And I think we may be at the end of this game here. I think that Classic's basically been defeated here. He failed with the storms there. Cure's counterattack is going right now into the heart of the infrastructure at the natural where the double robo is. And I think he's going to be moving on. He's going to unpower this pylon. Still a couple more pylons to take out. He goes for the robos instead, realizing that didn't unpower anything. Now the forages, also not unpowered, but he'll still go for all the pylons nonetheless.
One more storm by Classic is a whiff, just not able to connect onto the bio. And I think really Classic is just digesting the loss right now. It is 6 Zealots, 3 Stalkers, and 1 Archon. Here for Protoss.
Great game, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Cure just playing this so well. And Classic with 2 more mining bases. He's gonna try and get enough on the map, but if he could see what we could see, he would be tapping out right now because Cure is in such a commanding position.
Yeah, literally maxed out right now while he's pushing through here. Classic sub 100 supply. And yeah, you can see the pain on Classic's face. He realizes this is it. He's out. Cure, the slayer of all Protosses, is going to be advancing now into the round of 4 here, playing in the offline match.
Well, Cure going to push up into the main base.
We're just going to keep casting this until all the Protoss' buildings are destroyed,
Yeah,
guys.
you have to take out every single
building. You know
building.
how to lose conditions. He says, all right, you beat me. Now you get to destroy my base. Did anybody ever do that to you like the first week the game's out? You're like, that's okay.
Say, so somebody did that to me yesterday. Oh, I mean, the probes are getting cold right now. That's it. GG. Cure going to advance.
Got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Got to be feeling good about that.
Oh, it's a frustrating loss there for Classic. I think it's one of the reasons why it just took him so long to digest that loss there. But Cure honestly played that so phenomenally well. I mean, the crisis management, the control, the EMPs especially were some of the best EMPs I've seen all year. I mean, he never missed.
That was sick.
He hit everything.
Here's the thing. I don't think that Classic had to try to end the game there. He basically wanted to get him cornered and then just melt everything. And had he gotten maybe 2 Psy Storms off, plus what the damage he was already doing, he might have actually won that game, but he didn't. And then there is no escape plan. You're too deep with an army that can't run away, and you don't have the ability to regenerate your tech, right? You lose the Colossus, you're gone. You lose the Warp Prism, you're gone. Templars are not going to have energy fast enough to supplement the attack, to supplement what you don't have, I should say. And And yeah, it's just Zealot Stalker. Not enough.
That must have been a suffocating feeling for Classic, going for that fight where Terran's fourth base was going to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have an interview ready. Let's hear from our winner. All right, Kira, congratulations on your victory. You were the last to survive today. Now, you were able to take down Clem's Protoss and Classic's Protoss, but you lost a Hero. How do you feel about your TVP right now? Do you think you can take Hero down in the offline finals?
일단 김덕 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 일단 토스전을 다 치르시면서 이렇게 진출하게 되셨는데 일단 클렘 선수의 토스와 이제 김도 선수의 토스를 상대로는 승리를 하셨지만 이제 김준호 선수의 토스를 상대로는 좀 아쉽게 이제 패배를 하셨습니다. 그래서 다음에 이제 오프라인 파이널 무대에서는 김준호 선수의 프로토스 상대로 좀 이길 수 있을 것 같은지 좀 대체적인 좀 태프전 좀 실력에 대해서 평가를 좀 해주시죠.
아무래도 준호 형이랑 하면 누구나 다 알겠지만 좀 수비하면서 해야 되는데 저도 토스전을 하게 되면 못 참는 성격이어서 일단 빌드 준비한 대로 하다가 또 이번에도 좀 허무하게 져버린 것 같아서 좀 많이 아쉬운데 다음에 만나게 된다면 좀 운영도 할 수 있게끔 기본기 위주로 최대한 준비하면 좋을 것 같아요.
Yeah, so unlike any other Protoss, facing Hero, you need to be defensive. You know it. But that being said, I was so focused on myself and my build, and sometimes I get so emotional sometimes, so I get carried away on my emotions. So I think that went way offline, way off there. So in later games, when I face if I face Hero in later matches, then I'll have to fix on those issues.
Congratulations on advancing today. What are your expectations going into the round of 4? Can you win this season at GSL?
지난 시즌 이제 4강에서 좀 아쉽게 머무르셨지만 이번 시즌에는 좀 우승을 할 수 있으실 것 같은지 궁금합니다.
일단 최근에 최대한 연습량을 끌어올리면서 폼을 올리고 있고 저번 시즌에는 제가 생각해도 조금 부족했다고 생각을 하는데 이번 시즌은 최근에 좀 실력이 올라오고 있는 것 같아서 이번 시즌은 결승 이상 꼭 가도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah, last season, I think I was a little off, honestly. So I practiced a lot to get in my best shape, best form this season. So I'll try my best to win the trophy this time.
Okay, best of luck, and thank you for the interview.
네, 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. Sadly, Clem is out. Another foreigner unable to go all the way in the GSL. Will it ever change? I don't know. I want to believe. I'm an optimistic guy. I think it's totally reasonable. It will happen eventually, but not this season. Hero and Cure advancing, and rightfully so. They played amazingly. Classic put up a hell of a fight here at the end, but ultimately it was not enough.
Yeah, and we look now to the next matchup. It's going to be Maru, Shin, Zhao, and a Rogue playing tomorrow in the round of 8 in Group B. They will join our winners, Hero and Cure, in the offline finals.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Should be a pretty epic day. And yeah, I mean, how far is Shin? Can Shin win again?
Oh, that would be so cool.
It's crazy. I mean, he looked really good. He looked like the best I've ever seen. Rogue has been on fire and is really looking to be kind of coming back into that perfect Zerg form he's been in before. Maru, I mean, this guy's always like the guy who's probably going to win GSL, right? And Zhao had a pretty decent run last year. He's looked really good. I think he's the weakest guy in the group, but that doesn't mean he can't cause an upset. That doesn't mean he can't advance, maybe second place or something like that.
Yeah, Zhao definitely a dark horse. And honestly, even Shin, coming in, if I didn't cast GSL Season 1, I would be looking at, Maru and Rogue, almost a no-brainer right here. But Shin has been getting so good. I think it's honestly between Shin and Rogue for who's going to be the best Korean Zerg right now.
I think so.
It'll be a very fun group to watch. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. KST for that.
Guys, come to our semifinals. It was so good to see all of you who were able to make it down there in person. You know, there's not that many offline events for StarCraft 2. So the information for reserving the tickets is all there. You can see the price. You can see get to 4 tickets per person. The link is all there. It's 15,000 won. That's like $10 US. It is going to be next month on Sunday. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing you guys there. We're going to be on tomorrow, of course, casting Group B. So the finals day is the semifinals and the finals.
Yeah, it's a lot of StarCraft. You get 2 best-of-5s and a best-of-7, and already the lineup's looking really good. I mean, Hero and Kira advancing from today, and tomorrow we're going to add in 2 more players. Really, if anybody advances from Group B tomorrow, they're going to be wonderful additions into the round of 4. And if you want to support the GSL, if you're enjoying the show and you are in position to contribute, we invite you to join us on patreon.com/GSL, or you can subscribe directly on SOOPlive.com. Both of these go directly to the crowdfunding goals. It doesn't matter where you decide to give your pledge. Yeah. There are a lot of perks available.
Yeah, so definitely sign up. If we get to 10K, with the combined SOOP and Patreon goals, there will be a Season 3. And we were close. But how close are we now? How many squares in the GSL health bar do we have? Are we at our super meter yet?
We almost had eight squares full. It was pretty close, Tasteless.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get to see it this time. We might have to wait until
it gets
tomorrow.
Updated to end of day.
I might have to tally it. Here's what the schedule is looking like, by the way, guys. So, as you guys can see, we are going to be back tomorrow. The RSL Finals week is also happening Saturday, Sunday. That starts earlier, 4 p.m. Those are going to be longer broadcast days. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be so sick.
And then, of course, the GSL Finals back on the 7th of June, 5 p.m. KST for that one. So also an earlier start time.
Tickets go on sale on the 1st, so don't get this mixed up. Occasionally we get people that get the dates mixed up. They glance at that, they write it down wrong. Ticket sales go live Monday. The finals itself is actually not this weekend, but next weekend.
And again, you really want to get those tickets immediately. Like, make sure you're ready to F5 that page and pick them up.
You need to be ready to snipe those.
They sell out near instantly, and if you miss your chance, we literally cannot get you in. We are next to the police station and the fire department.
Yes.
They are actually the neighboring buildings, so no shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been another great day at GSL. Kind of nice to have a deep dive into TVP.
Yeah.
Fascinating to see that, like, the matchup seems to have really morphed into something where there's a lot of different ways to play. We're seeing Terrans win in late game, in kind of the turtling exhaust style of play. We're seeing Terran wins with these timing pushes. Protoss, by the way, a lot of variance. There was a lot of doomers last year about this whole matchup. But I got to say, you look at the games today, don't tell me this isn't an interesting matchup.
Yeah, these are some spectacular matches played, really from everybody.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that, Tasteless.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
No, it's cool because I think coming into today, most of the GSL games that we've gotten, they've either been like in PvT, it's like the Terran either wins really fast or they win at the end of the game. But we actually had a lot of Terrans win in the mid game.
Yes.
Especially Kira. I mean, he was just absolutely popping off.
It's just interesting to see that the matchup is very dynamic. There's a lot of different approaches that are working, and it's not as one-dimensional or as formulaic as we had seen before.
Yeah.
Do they tell us to close the show? Or all right, we can close now. We were waiting for that.
I was waiting for the lower third, man.
I know. I thought we had something at the bottom of the screen. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow. We love you. Bye-bye.
transmission.
I know that you're longing for a little change, a bit of something different in a different place, somewhere the grass